I bet they don't celebrate Rosh Hashanah for like Matthew McConaughey. I bet if he calls.
There got to be people that they break it. They have to.
Fuck yes.
I had my.
Are you recording? Oh, awesome. No, we'll just start. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. My wife's a manager. She's my ex-manager. Actually, that's how we got together. Yeah.
Really?
Cross lines. You're not supposed to cross.
Yeah.
But she was just telling me about how someone was like getting looked at by some big agent, and the agent she had was literally like, "I will cut my honeymoon short. I will come home." And it's just like,
fuck.
Isn't that awful? Like what this business does to people. Like
it's so funny, but it dictates. It's one of the things that I was like, they were talking about Louis, and I was like, yeah, but like, by the way, I'm not getting into the fucking public discourse of Louis because it just is a fucking downhill.
That's fine by me.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you want to talk about, we can. Personally, I just go like, like I just started not tweeting when I was drunk. Like recently, I just like going. Sure. You get fired up about something, and you go, "Wait, hold on. Maybe how do I feel about this tomorrow?"
That's how Swartzen. That's why Swartzen wasn't on Twitter for like years.
Really?
And
he was always drunk.
No, yeah, because he told me he was like, because I drink, bro.
Yeah.
Like I drink a lot, man. Yeah. I shouldn't have this power. You know, because he's huge. He'd have like, the moment he jumps on Twitter, he's got like 100,000, like it's nothing.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, that's smart. That's smart to like not drink and tweet.
I also am starting like. I sounded off about something on my solo podcast, and I did another podcast, and the guy was like, "Hey man, I heard your solo podcast, and you said this. Are those your feelings?" And I went, "Oh no, I'm just talking."
Yeah. Well, and that's the problem with the printed word. It's so severe.
Yeah.
Like I know every angry email I've ever sent, and I regret every one of them, even if I was right, because you look at them and you're like, God, like that ruins someone's entire day. If you just put out what I mean?
You know what's so interesting? I think you're like 3 years, 4 years younger than me. How old are you?
I'm 44.
Yeah. Oh, you're a year younger than me.
Okay.
But like we were at ground zero
yes, sir.
Of firing off angry emails.
Yeah.
No one ever got that power except we got it.
Yeah.
And we were young enough to not know what the fuck we were doing.
Know. Oh,
and
my God.
light motherfuckers up.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Because
it's only this should work well.
And you're like they'll understand.
Yeah.
They'll know the concept.
Yeah.
But it's like when you read that from somebody, you're like, this person I hate now. Like they made me, this person just broke my heart, Do
you remember when Judd Apatow and Mark Brazil got into it?
Oh yeah. Over Brazil was like the 70s show guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And they got leaked.
Yes.
That's, can I tell you, I am definitely cognizant of texts I send to people.
Yes.
Because man, you don't ever someone will break into texts.
Yeah. Well,
someone will release text.
Absolutely. And it's all out in the ether. It all exists. It's all forever.
And despite your invasion of privacy, it completely doesn't matter.
No.
It will be like, no.
I know.
You said the M word.
Texted everything. Every offensive thing I have, in jest written to someone in a comedic context as someone else. Everyone's, done that, which is like, like put it this way. There was a guy, the only guy in my life that I ever had to break up with as a friend. You ever had to do that?
Oh my God, I've had a few of these.
It's brutal. It's the worst thing. It's harder than a relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You have to be like, hey man, not only do I not want to have sex with you, I don't want to speak to you.
I don't want to speak with you.
Like I just don't want to speak.
Don't call me your friend anymore. Yeah, because I found out.
Call me your friend.
I found out he was like he was like a big liar. He lied about everything for no reason. But he also was like There were women I knew in my life who came forward, I guess I'd say, and say like, hey, you know what he's been saying to me all this time, and he's really made me feel uncomfortable. And I'm just like, oh fuck, screw this guy, So it's like I can't be on that guy's team, And anyway, long story long, he claimed like his lies were insane, and we knew him back from the Chicago days.
Yeah.
And he claimed to have at one point, and he said it to a few different guys in private, maybe while drinking, that he found Chris Farley's body. Like he was the one that found it. And see, I would never write that guy out of my life. I would just simply, you would just keep him around.
Hey
man, tell him, get him all perved up, get him drunk, and be like, guys, tell him the story.
I almost enjoy, like I'm not someone. I don't ever call people on lies. Like
sure.
Like
I never would be like, that's not true. It's just too harsh.
We had a guy in college. I won't say his name. I want to almost, because I'm almost certain it wasn't his name.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say his name.
But we met him freshman year, and So like freshman year, we're all on the same floor, right? And I meet this guy, Myles Mosley, who I love to this day.
Yeah.
Myles Mosley was on I hate that I have to defend the world the way it used to be.
Okay.
I hate that I say something and people go, "Are you serious?"
Yeah.
There was black floors and there were white floors. They segregated floors back then.
It's insane.
I know.
But yeah.
But
yeah.
mostly because it was the football players
Okay.
and then all the other regular kids. Like football players were all black and then it was all the white kids.
What school was this?
Florida State.
Okay.
By the way, the city was segregated, meaning we had a white college and a black college.
Wow.
FAMU and Florida State. So, but there was a black
Yeah,
floor.
unofficially.
Yeah.
But it was.
There was also, this is going to sound bizarre to everyone, and Myles Mosley will attest to this because of his name, he got put not only on the black floor, but in the black English class.
No, I mean,
I swear to
put
God.
it up for my prejudice. When you said his name, I was like, oh, is a black friend of yours?
Yeah. And
That's a pretty black name.
He's a pretty black dude, oddly enough. I swear to God. I don't know if it was by nature or nurture.
Sure.
But he definitely is a black dude. Like,
Okay.
Myles Mosley to this day is one of my favorite guys. Anyway, he's on the black floor. By the way, he looks like Larry Bird, okay?
Okay, perfect.
But not as tall, just happens to look like Larry
Oh,
Bird.
no. Didn't even have the height to go with it?
Oh my God, just the face and the body. And so he is sitting in his room. He had the corner room right to the right.
Yeah.
He's sitting in his room. I press third floor was black dudes, fourth floor was white dudes.
Okay.
I press the third on accident. I get out and I realize I'm like, all I see is black dudes, and then I see this one white guy sitting in his room, not talking to anyone. No one's talking to him at all. And he sees me as like a lifeline. He goes, "Want to see a magic trick?" That's how I meet Myles Mosley.
That's a pretty
friends to my day.
That's definitely a white friend mating call.
Yeah. So I tell him, I say, "Hey man, apparently all the white guys are on the next floor. Do you want to come hang out with us?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." So we go upstairs. I meet my roommate, and my buddy Jeff Hartley says, "Dude, I met a great guy." I mean, I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, he's from Brazil, right?"
Okay.
He was gonna play soccer at Pepperdine, but he decided to go here. Dude, this guy's fucking amazing. You should hear the stories he tells. And immediately Myles perks up like, this isn't real. No one.
Oh, okay.
And then a white guy comes in. And you're like, oh, this guy. And we were friends with him all summer. And he never had money.
Yeah.
Always borrowed clothes.
Yeah.
Like just everything.
And let me guess, he was doing the same thing my guy was doing, where he would lie to you because he always wanted to impress you. And you're like, dude, we're already friends.
Yep.
That's not why I have friends, because I'm
Yep.
impressed by them.
Yeah, I would just
have
wanna
friends
hang out.
because they're real and they're loyal, interesting, hopefully good sense of humor.
Yeah.
But I'm never like, man, that's my best friend because he has a Bentley or whatever. You know what I mean?
And would do stuff. Like one time there was this, I think this is how it went down. The cops came to the dorm. They thought we were drinking. We were drinking, but we hid it from them. And then everything was fine. And then the cops came back and they're like, "You guys keyed our car." And we're like, no, we didn't. And now this guy was gone out of the room when we were drinking, and now he's back in the room.
Yeah.
And we're like, no, we would never. First of all, we grew up pretty privileged, I would say.
Yeah.
But in privilege, I mean, there was no part of us would ever key a cop car.
No.
Like we always had respect for the law.
Sure.
In our privilege, meaning like your parents would kill you if you keyed a cop car.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And then the cops leave, and he's like, "Dude, I totally keyed their car." And you're like, "Why the fuck?" They brought us into the station. They brought us into the station. And like the next day, they came back and got us out of class and brought us into the station. And he was like, "You need to lie for me." And I was like, "Oh, that's not happening."
No. Yeah.
Dude.
But the reason the real quick,
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
The Kafari thing. No. But these intersect. These
yeah.
intersect. So now every year I have two friends that every time a major celebrity dies, they text me that guy's name. I won't say his name. Found Prince.
Do I know the guy?
No, you wouldn't know him. But like his found Prince. Oh, he found Bowie. Like that's how I've found out people have died, because my friend will text me that this guy found him. You know, like, and it's and it's like it's disturbing, but it's always hilarious, as if this guy's still calling people, "Hey man, I don't know if you heard about Prince, but I found him."
Wouldn't it be
find
cool
him.
to find out his friends now and just have have dinner with them?
I still have friends that are friends with him, and one big thing he would do is he would like pull scams, and he dated a couple girls that he like stole their identities. Like he's a low down dude. And then he had this, they went out for like someone's birthday, and he was there with his current girlfriend, and they were talking about scams they were pulling together. And everyone was kind of like, "Well, I guess you found the right girl." Gee, you know, like I mean, I guess you gotta date what works for you. I'm just glad I don't know him anymore.
I almost like. You'd run into a lot of people like that in comedy when you first started.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that's almost like the honeypot for that personality.
Yep.
Of guys coming in and telling their big story.
Yep.
And by the way, it's part of what got one of our friends in trouble. Is it is really hard to get into comedy, and it really is hard to like break through the fucking the bubble.
Yes.
And be someone's like, oh my God, do you know this guy's story?
Yeah. I mean, that's why people fake it until they make it. There are people that
was, by the way, that was a legit, before the internet was around, that was a legit way to get into the business.
For sure.
That was, I'm not even saying like, that was legit.
Yeah.
I had friends that were like, no, fake it till you make it. You get a nice car, live in a shitty apartment, you tell everyone you're producing, you tell everyone you're making stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like there are huge chunks of the town still doing that. Like 5 guys in one apartment, they all lease the same like Benz. And they all, I mean, can you imagine? What a horrible life.
Oh my God,
Canaan used to live in a building with those guys. 5 guys. They'd all sit on the stoop, just chain smoking cigarettes, staring at the same car.
Really?
And I was like, 5? It'd be easier with 7. Like we each get a day. Like I'm Tuesday.
Yeah.
Ray, he's older. He gets Saturday. He gets Saturday night. So
I wish I'm too cynical to be fake it till you make it.
Oh, I'm just too afraid of getting found out too.
I don't like.
That's why I love that. Don't lie. You don't have to remember anything then.
Well, that becomes problematic when you tell so many truths. Then people ask you the thing, and you just go, "Man, I pray to God I lied because I can't believe I said that to somebody."
Yeah, that's the other side of it.
I did. Big J's got a podcast, Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll.
Right.
And they ask you first time you had sex, first time you did drugs, and the first time you went to a concert.
Okay.
And I was praying I had lied about my concert because I was embarrassed of it. And I was like, I got to tell the truth because I think I might have told the truth.
Yeah.
It was Whitney Houston and the Beach Boys.
That's pretty awesome.
And no, but they were like, but yeah, I have a problem. I have a problem with oversharing, I think.
Oh, for sure.
That's
Yeah.
something like where I wish I could just punch it up a tad bit and tell the.
Oh well, dude. I mean, you play the store too. Yeah, obviously. And I mean, if you go to some of those rooms where it's just like a kid threw together his friends or whatever, and it's that thing of the current trend, which is be as personal as possible, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. Like you're special, if I may, fantastic, because it's real and it's very personal. It's very true to your life, and that's the kind of shit everyone should be doing. But people that had only been doing comedy a couple months, all of a sudden a kid got up there and was like, "Hey, I was molested." And I'm just like, where's the joke, man? And then he would go, book me. And it's like, oh my God. Like, because it's just this thing. It's just, they just want fame and they want it all right away. And it's like.
They see the algorithm is working that the trend is comedy is post-comedy.
Yes.
And there's no jokes. And I think every single one of us that does it for a living goes, no. Jokes are super important.
It's everyone looked at like Tig and Louis and a bunch of other people, and we're like, oh, they just talk about whatever's on their mind. Like, no, they don't.
No, yeah.
They do sometimes, but there's, it's like building a house. You get these 4 posts that are amazing stories or jokes. In the middle, you can fill in all kinds of shit. And if you think of a new window right there, you build a new window.
Yeah.
I just did it right now. I just shared that. I just thought of it right now. But the amount of comics I saw who were just starting out and just started talking about their day, and in 3 minutes in, they're stinking up the room. And it's just like, oh, no, man, you can't.
It's, the one thing I'll say, and then to like, the one time I heard of like what I guess was post-comedy, meaning, so if for those of you that don't know, there's a new trend. There's an article written it's called post-comedy. It's where the jokes aren't important. They're second.
Well, and that's, I feel like that is like some writer's idea of creating a thing which isn't a thing.
Yeah, it's like grunge. It's like grunge.
Yeah, right, and it's yes, exactly, which is like garage.
Yeah, grunge wasn't really a thing, and they weren't like a group of guys that hung out. Pearl Jam didn't really know Nirvana.
No,
and Soundgarden knew Pearl Jam, but like they all just a little bit,
right? And then rock bands that like really just didn't wear makeup.
Yeah, that's all it was. Just rock bands that didn't wear makeup and fluff their hair. That was it.
That's it.
Because they were in Seattle and it rained all the time.
Yeah,
and if they put hairspray in, it would wash out.
Exactly, and they're like poor.
Yeah, the humidity level is way too high in Seattle.
Way too high for all that hairspray.
Level.
Yeah, we're like, I mean, it's like the big tent pole for that thinking is Nanette, which is funny. There's jokes throughout, like. She's a pro.
Bro, I have to say this every time people bring up Nanette. My one joke that she said, okay, say she didn't write jokes if you want, but there's one joke she wrote in there that I still to this day I giggle at maybe once a day.
Which one?
Is when I was growing up, I knew more facts about unicorns than I did about lesbians. There's no facts about unicorns because I was like, oh wow, that would be, and then I was like, oh yeah, unicorns
don't exist.
Real.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, yeah, but yes, what she did was personal. It was whatever.
Well, and my takeaway was that it was what we were supposed to be doing is kind of eviscerating everything. We're kind of supposed to be tearing shit apart and then kind of looking at it and seeing how it works. Mm-hmm. She did that with the LGBTQ movement. She did that with stand-up comedy itself, with herself. She shredded herself, talking about how I've shredded myself for laughs all my life, and it's hurt me, and it's not something we're necessarily supposed to say, kind of thing. So that's what I took away from it. I didn't take away from it of like, oh, she literally got sad on stage. Great. I mean, sure.
She said, I'm tired of writing and I'm not like, I'm going to use, I don't want to use, I know exact jokes that she's talking about, but like, I'm tired of doing the joke, which is, look at what I'm wearing. Clearly, I'm a lesbian.
Right.
Like, as opposed to like, hey, look at fuck you what I'm wearing. This is what I'm comfortable in.
Yeah.
And this is why I'm comfortable in it.
Totally.
And I think that a lot of lesbians and a lot of gay guys would go up and make jokes about themselves to make the audience comfortable with them. Right. And she was saying, I will no longer do that.
And I think that's beyond played out too. That whole thing of like, it's a stereotype. I know what you're thinking. So and so and so and so had a baby.
And like, I won't point exact examples, but like the other point is like Ralphie May. We used to go, look at this stupid ass jacket I'm wearing, and all of us would sit in the back and go, bitch, you put it on. Like, you put that on.
Yes.
Look at it. I know what you're thinking. Look at this jacket. I look like a fucking blah, blah, blah. You're like, Ralphie, you fucking picked it.
Yes.
And so I think I thought what she was saying, and part of me applauded it. Part of me understands that does cut the feet out from a lot of gay LGBTQ acts.
Sure.
Where they are just making a living, and they are making fun of themselves for being gay. Look, I'm making fun of myself for being fat, for drinking too much. Like, I'm not agreeing with one side or the other.
Sure.
But I like what she's doing.
Well, and she didn't say we have to put a stop to this.
Yeah.
She's only talking about herself.
Yeah.
Like
it's journalists going, comedy's dead.
Because it's like, comedy is almost impossible to write about. It is. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, when you have someone who is who usually reviews plays, and then this person now reviews stand-up, it's just like, dude, what? I don't understand. It's like you judge the blue ribbon pig at the fair, and now you're going to look at robots in a factory or whatever. Like, it's just these are beyond different than apples and oranges.
Yeah.
These aren't even really the same fruit. Aren't even, one's a vegetable. You know what I mean? Like the best lesson I ever got in comedy was like 5 seconds in Chicago, where I'm at the back of the room with a buddy of mine, and this guy's on stage, and he was kind of a hack dude, and he was talking about flavors of Gatorade, and he was just like, yes, there's a flavor right now called Fierce Lime. What's so fierce about a lime? And the guy next to me goes, yeah, that makes you furious, huh? And I was like, that's it. It's like it doesn't matter what your truth is, but it's got to be some kind of truth for you.
Truth.
You just like, you don't get mad at Gatorade flavors, man. It's like, so like,
there should be that would be a really brilliant book, Lessons I Learned in Comedy, and just go to all of us and go, like, this last hour, I learned more lessons in comedy getting ready for this hour. I got obsessive about it.
Sure.
Because it was Netflix, and I was like, oh, okay, I can do stand up 150 times before I do this.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to do it 150. I'm going to do it and I started whittling down how many hours I've been doing stand up versus how many hours I started getting into the math. I can get into the math. It's funny, I've never balanced a checkbook. I think I would have liked that.
Yeah. Yeah, same.
I've never balanced a checkbook in my life. And I don't think you do that anymore.
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't, we have basically computer programs that you can do it for you.
My wife made a comment about me saying, I haven't been, by the way, I'm not to like overshare once again.
Please.
But I haven't been drinking a lot lately.
Okay, yeah.
I just haven't been, for a lot of reasons. I think, number one, I started looking at people aging
Yeah.
Just aging and going.
Yeah.
Well, like I started seeing old man legs. I was talking to Ronnie B about this. I saw old man legs and I went,
Yeah.
I don't want old man legs. I want good legs. Like Rogan looks like he has footballs in his calves. And I was like, I want good legs. And I think drinking makes me not inactive, and inactivity brings all
It slows your development down. Like, I mean, I just did, a buddy of mine does a podcast called All Fantasy Everything, where
Ian Carmel.
Yes, you know Ian.
Yeah, of course.
And we drafted hangover remedies, and my number one was exercise. And I'm a binge drinker, no question.
Oh yeah,
about it.
me too.
Yes, I like to go. I like to go and go and go. But like in years, as years gone by, like now that I'm married and all this stuff, I've definitely slowed it up. And one thing, like this weekend, my wife and I went to a Zumba class on Saturday. We go to Zumba classes sometime where you just fucking dance and just sweat it all out. Yeah. And the next day went to like Soul Cycle, went to a spin class. And so and it's like usually it's like I don't work on the weekends. Screw that.
Yeah.
I wake up when I want to wake up. Have a patch 'em up beer. As Mike Burns would say, and go about my day.
Patch 'em up.
Patch 'em ups. Yeah. So it's like, I mean, I'm the same way. It's about like scaling it back and kind of saving it. You know what I mean? Saving it for when it's
for when it counts.
Yes.
And I said to my wife yesterday, I was sitting, and I think I had drank. Where was I? Was I somewhere this weekend? I was in New York, and I had partied in New York, and I hadn't been partying for a while.
And New York, let's be honest. New York goes harder than anyone. Like Chicago, I thought had the belt. Nope.
No.
Because New York just doesn't close. Chicago goes till 4 a.m. New York just doesn't close.
I drank all day with Ari, I want to say. All day into the night with Ari. I was just and I was smoking weed like crazy. But the point is, like, I hadn't, for the past couple months, I've been really tailoring it back. And then I went hard, and I was like, well, I'm back on. I'm gonna take a couple weeks off again.
Sure.
But then yesterday I was forced to think of like, what is the thing inside me that wants to drink? Because I sometimes like I go, ooh, it's a beautiful sunset. Let's make a cocktail of a cigar and get in the pool.
Yeah, sure.
And then that leads into my night. And last night was beautiful. It was perfect.
Yeah.
It was so perfect. And I said, I'm sitting with my wife, and I just am almost angry.
Yeah.
What's the matter? And I said, I need a treat. I deserve a treat. Like, She was like, let me tell you the problem with you. You've never done anything in life. You committed your life to just writing jokes. So your whole life, you never had a job. You don't have to worry about money.
Wow,
you have a business manager. You have everything set up.
God,
so all you do is think about jokes.
You could be talking about me.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I've had jobs, but yeah.
And she's like, normal people say, now's when I'll just go balance my checkbook.
Yeah.
Or now's when I'll go and take a look at what, maybe maybe I should invest in some property. All you're thinking about is jokes. And so she goes, maybe, I don't know, maybe you need to grow up a little bit. And I was like, oh, that's not going to happen.
Right.
And then I was like, I'll just fucking white knuckle this one out. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go work out. And I got on the treadmill.
Wow.
I was like, fuck it. I was like, you're not going to tell me not to grow up. I'm getting on the treadmill.
Yeah. I mean, but that's a good instinct, because so many times when I get that same, what did Burr called it, like the monster or something like that. That's in you. That's like, it's getting all itchy and it wants to go party and it wants to go to whatever. Yeah. It's like you kind of pick another thing and see if it passes and see if it gets a little better, and it can be the difference between having 5 beers or having 15 a lot of times,
Oh, it's so funny.
Like you do a thing first.
Yeah. I Sunday night, I was not going to drink Sunday night, but then all of a sudden, like 8 couples came over with all their kids.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm not going to not drink now.
Yeah.
And so I took, they have the smaller bottles of Tito's.
Sure.
Like they have this one, and then they have this one, not the little ones, but this one.
Right. Yeah.
And so I said, I just won't drink more than that.
Okay.
And I drank half of it, but I smoked weed with it, and then I was like, oh, okay, then maybe that'll be my new thing.
There you go.
And I have a cardiologist appointment coming up next Monday, so I'm nervous about that.
Sure.
Do you have a cardiologist?
I don't. I have a good doctor, but I need to get one. But she's kind of like,
do you have good blood pressure and stuff?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Then you're fine. I wouldn't worry.
Yeah, I mean, I do have. There is a history of heart disease in parts of my family, so it's like I'm on it. I'm very careful. Get my cholesterol's a big one to get that checked and stuff. Yeah. But I found that like regular exercise, like a couple times a week, like keeps it way down. Yeah. And it also it kind of shrinks your insides a little bit, like your stomachs. I used to just be like, oh, if I'm home, I'm eating, just snacking, munching on something. And it's like, I don't really do that anymore. I mean, there's still those moments, but it just kind of, it like offsets your metabolism. Like the thing I've been describing it as is like, I met this guy who was like, him and his non-serious girlfriend are having a kid. And he's like, yeah, I'm terrified, but she's awesome and we're seeing where it goes and stuff. And I'm just like, it's probably taking your mind off other crap too, right? And he's like, oh yeah. And to me, it's like kung fu. Anyone I know who's gotten into martial arts, it just changes everything else in their life, and they have like a laser focus on what counts and what does not.
Yeah.
Or in terms of us, heavy drinkers, people that give each other like next day headaches sometimes. You ever pinch that nerve in your hand so that your brain thinks of the pain in your hand and it stops thinking of your headache and the headache starts going away? It's like pinching that nerve. Yeah. So like, you having these moments where you kind of pinch that nerve, it kind of just it gives you perspective where you're like, oh, you know what? I don't need to shotgun a bottle of Tito's and fall in the pool right now.
Yeah. But it feels so good when you do.
Oh,
wait,
yeah.
You weren't born in Portland, were you?
No, Chicago. But my parents moved when I was 2.
Born in Chicago, lived in Portland, started in Chicago?
Started in Chicago. Went to school in New York and was an actor. And
wait, what was Portland like when you were growing up?
Just kind of strange and weird and dismal.
Was it like it is today?
No. Now it's like this destination kind of, I don't know, what chicken or egg Brooklyn or Portland hipster was, but it's kind of like that everywhere now.
So wait, what were there had to be hints of that growing up, right?
I mean, it was always like an incredibly progressive, incredibly like artsy fartsy place with a bunch of like weirdos. Like Chuck Palahniuk, who wrote Fight Club, wrote a book.
Dude, he's gay.
Yes.
Can I tell you, like, I mean, I guess I feel like they hid that from us. Because I was obsessed with Fight Club.
Well, he did in the book say, do we really need women?
Oh, yeah.
I remember that was kind of when I read the book, I was like, hey, yeah, man, what?
Part of that, when my wife dumped me when we were dating for like 4 months.
Okay.
And I watched Fight Club on repeat in my closet.
So good.
Yeah, I put my mattress in the closet, my television in the closet.
Oh my God.
I had a walk-in closet. I put everything in the
You were
closet.
Operation Chaos.
I was like, dude, it's cave time. Here we go. We're gonna heal these wounds. A bear gets hurt, it goes to the cave and goes,
that's right.
We're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found out he was gay listening to Rogan's podcast, and I was like, oh my God, my hero's gay? There's him and David Sedaris.
Do you know?
Define me.
Yeah, oh, wow.
The two guys, my two heroes are gay.
But there was really no question with Sedaris.
I remember reading.
You didn't actually think he was straight, did you?
I remember reading Naked and getting three-quarters of the way in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I love this guy. I want to be this guy.
Yeah.
And him saying that he sucked a trucker's dick or something.
Sure.
And I was like, hold on.
Hey, wait a minute.
Oh, wait. Oh,
yeah.
I was like, wait, I must have misread that.
Yeah, you're like, why couldn't they start with holding hands or something?
Like, wait,
ease me into it.
I'm like, okay, hold
That's
on, wait.
so funny.
And I go back and forth, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'm really cool with homosexuality. It's like when we were in college, you found out Perry Farrell let dude suck his dick, and you were like, okay, I've got to process this because I'm not going to stop liking Perry Farrell. Apparently, you're just making me progressive.
One of my favorite things was like straight friend, because I grew up knowing gay couples when I was a kid. It was like
I knew none.
I get it.
I didn't know one.
You didn't have to tell me. I can tell.
My entire life.
Yeah. But it was at the same time, I'm heterosexual, so growing up, it's like I wasn't the chillest dude. I definitely said the word faggot when I was a kid. It's like I'm not proud of that at all.
Yeah.
Ashamed, in fact. But it's like, at the same time, I grew up around not only gay people, but gay families. Like there's Roger and Andy, this gay couple I grew up with. They live next door because Portland has more strip clubs than any other more per capita than any other city.
I miss some of those strip clubs.
They're great, and it's men and women go.
Hawthorne
Strip is great.
I was right next to
right down the street from Helium.
I love that club.
That's a good solid just drop in one. Sassy's I think is the best.
Really?
But anyway, they lived next door to this woman who was like one of the biggest strippers in town, most popular, and she had a great big house. And Roger and Andy, I'm in high school, and they're like, yes, she's sunbathes in the nude. It's too bad no one's there to appreciate it. I'm like, can I come over, Roger, please? But it's like Chuck Palahniuk. I've heard twice women in bars going, oh my God, that's Chuck Palahniuk. I'm gonna fuck him. Twice I've heard a woman like, I'm just like, okay, surprise. Because he's like a handsome, older, muscular man.
Yeah.
And so like chicks like him, but it's just like, you didn't
He's
know.
Badass. That Rogan podcast was fucking amazing.
Oh, I still haven't heard that one.
Oh, it's fucking
How long ago was it?
3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Dude, it's so good.
Yeah.
And you're just the whole time you're like, God damn it, this guy's got it dialed in.
Yeah.
He's just when it comes to art. When it comes to art, he really loves to find the edge, push. Like it was a fascinating podcast.
His thing was he's got the kind of a laser focus and discipline in it. He just put it on writing the perfect sentence, and so he just writes these incredible books.
Yeah,
like I'm a huge fan of a lot of his stuff. I gotta say this too. I read the book. The guy who produced Fight Club was a big Hollywood producer, but like kind of like a just a regular dude, you know, didn't go with the Hollywood crap, and like really loved that book and brought it to Edward Norton and brought it to Brad Pitt, and they were like, "This is amazing. Let's make it." And both guys, their reps were like, "Do not make this movie. It will kill your careers." And he did it. They shot it. They did the whole thing because Brad Pitt could do anything he wanted back then. Probably still can. But they shot the whole movie, and when they do a screening for all the execs, like on the studio level, right, the highest level, no matter what the movie is, they all walk out and they're like, even if they hated it, they're not allowed to say that. You know what I mean? Because no one wants to be the first one to be like wrong. So they're all just like, all right, well, that's something. With Fight Club, they ran up to him. They're like, "You killed Brad. You killed him. You killed our Brad Pitt." Like they were screaming.
Oh my God.
As if he had Brad like shooting kids or something insane. Like something.
Really?
Yeah, they hated it so much.
Oh,
and I think it's such a good movie.
Oh, it's amazing.
And one reason it's so good is because it was so disruptive back then.
Dude, he was that movie. He created the term snowflakes.
Oh wait, Palahniuk did?
Yep.
No, hilarious.
He created the term snowflake and something else. Like because he said in the, when you do something like this, you write a term and you don't realize you're creating it. And in that thing, he was like, everyone thinks they're a fucking snowflake.
Yeah.
Like,
and like the hard right wingers use it wrong. They think it means you melt. It's like, no, it means you think you're special and more different than anyone else.
Yeah. And so, and then another term, but it was funny how almost like Fight Clubs, then it's like MMA came up during that time. And now you have this like alpha male who like is defined by Fight Club.
Well, and sadly, like the wrong kind, like the Proud Boys, which are basically like uber betas that just basically like, they want to bring back the era where men ran everything and everything. And it's just like, no, you have to give everyone their rights, and your rights are not being infringed upon. Straight white dude. I'm sorry, not you, but them. And but I think it's more to the point. Anytime you introduce something that's that powerful, it's going to have good and bad consequences with that level of art. It just is.
Yeah, I think so.
It's got nothing to do with Chuck or. Have you
ever met him?
Never. No, I always wanted to.
Have him on your podcast.
Oh my God, I would love it.
Yeah. So wait, when you were growing up in Portland, was it just like here? I'd imagined when I was in college, I wanted to live in two places, Portland and Seattle. I just wanted to live there because I thought everything was green. I thought there was the ground was always soft, and and I thought that there was always clouds coming in, and you were always up on a hill, and you could go hiking and jump off waterfalls.
Well, where I grew up in Northeast Portland was not very pretty or nice. My parents were were school teachers and didn't make much money, but I remember there were hookers and pimps, and they were selling heroin out of the bars. 4 of the 5 bars on Alberta got busted for selling heroin. It's where I learned the term heroin back when I was probably 4 or 5. But the rest of the city, there's really nice places and okay places, but it always was seen as kind of like a poor man's Seattle back then.
Really?
Because Seattle was kind of like the big deal where all the money was, and then for the people in the Northwest and stuff. But it was kind of just like this kind of a nowhere town. And that book that Chuck wrote, I think it's called Rejects and Refugees or something like that. It's like people that don't fit anywhere else just ended up there. And that's why the amount of strip clubs, that's why the amount of weird art. There was always weird art. A lot of it I hated. But there was this electronic 24-hour Church of Elvis that was downtown, that's behind a glass wall that was it looked like something out of a Talking Heads video. A lot of my childhood looked like a Talking Heads video in terms of the art. And there'd be a revolving plastic Elvis head and a computer screen, and the little keyboard comes out, and it was like a Commodore 64. And you could walk up to it in the street as long as you put a quarter in, and it would marry you, be like, "Do you take?" And you'd press Y. "Do you take?" Y. And it would tell your fortune or whatever, but like that was a big thing. I remember like you had your girlfriend in high school, like, should we go to like Church Elvis, get married? And it's just this random art exhibit kind of making fun of institutions and all this stuff like that. So that I always bring it up as an example of art. And it was like an idyllic place to live. But when I was in high school, you had which was the 80s into the early 90s, you had basically like two things happened. Gangs moved up from Los Angeles because the crackdown on drugs was so insane that they started, they branched out and started looking for disenfranchised youth that didn't have strong parental figures. And then you had this guy named Metzger who had a white supremacist compound out in the woods. Now,
unfortunate for Kurt.
Oh yeah, I know, right? Every time I say that, people think it's him. It's not Kurt.
Can't catch a break.
No, it's not that Kurt. But,
by the way, I have to say this now. But Kurt, you're my friend. I'm making a joke about you because I love you. Because you can't make jokes about friends anymore because everyone fucking loses their goddamn mind. Right. I love you, Kurt. I love you. You know I love you.
Yeah, don't fucking at snitch on anybody. When people do that, he's talking about you. No, he's not.
Yep, that's what they do.
But so those guys would go in for like the white young men and women. And if you've seen like American History X, that camp they'd all hang out in, the barn, that was based on that. I knew people that went to that barn, that went to those things. Yeah, and that joined Bloods and Crips. And so we had this little just live and let live town, and all of a sudden just random violence would happen at punk shows and hip hop shows because look, the most dangerous people are not the gangbangers, are not the like necessarily the Aryan Nation guys. It's the ones who want to prove to those guys that they're tough. It's the wannabes. It's the people that just joined as the prospects. Yeah. And so you had, guys in gym class throwing up signs. You had people on my football team that like would tackle each other during scrimmage and like, what are you doing? We're on the same team and he ain't on my team, motherfucker. And then you had skinheads roaming the streets. You had this group called SCARs, which were skinheads committed against racism, which is basically black and white skinheads, but they still want to use what I call the Star Wars method of solving problems, which is to destroy, where you think the other side is the Death Star, so you have to blow it up. All they wanted to do was kick ass. And when you're like a teenage boy, that's kind of all you want to do a lot of times. But they wanted to, we forget that when you see someone, it's like when those guys were like, oh, this person's not on my team, I'm going to kill him. You can put that for anything. You can put it where I could designate you're a sexist, I'm going to kick your ass to make myself feel better. Yeah. You're a racist, I'm going to kick your ass. It's like that doesn't solve sexism. That doesn't solve racism. No. That just means you hurt a human being. And you don't understand that definition when you're in high school and stuff like that. So it wasn't like Portland was a war zone, but it added a level of anxiety and tension that I had never known my whole life. That was really strange.
Oh, that would have fucked me up.
It was really strange.
That would have done one or two things for me. It would have fucked me up, or it would have polarized me and put me in one of those groups.
Yeah. And I mean, I stayed above the fray because most of us, I feel like most teenagers are smarter than we give them any kind of credit for. Yeah. Because the stereotype is they're dumb. They're not dumb. They just don't have any experience. But like, I remember being, most teenagers you talk to, they're pretty chill. And like, they're the ones who are just like, no, this whole thing's bullshit. The emperor has no clothes. So like, most people I knew were like, yeah, that's dumb. But then I knew some people who, if you feel disenfranchised enough, what makes you join that thing. So you're guys that I knew growing up that all of a sudden were like, we got to stand up for the white race, man. And I'm like, no, we don't, dude. No, we don't. Yeah. And it was the biggest thing people don't think about in terms of gangs and those groups is it's family, it's community. And all it means is you have someone who watches your back, and that's all anyone wants. And if you don't grow up in a family where you don't feel enough of that, you'll turn to that shit, Yeah. I feel like half those guys, you get them in a room alone and just talk to them. Like my dad was a vice principal and a disciplinarian, and I knew guys who were in and out of prison, who were like my age now, who when I see him will be like, hey man, say hi to your dad. He was always good to me, man. Because really? My dad would pull him aside and be like, Trevor, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing with these guys? You need better grades than this? Where they make you feel better about yourself? And you're better than that, Because a lot of teachers, you can't really blame them. They just write people off. Oh, because it's exhausting.
Oh, teachers are regular people too.
Yeah,
because my mom was a teacher. Oh, right. And so like I always go like Georgia, my oldest in 5th grade was like my teacher doesn't like me. And my wife's like, that's impossible. I go, no, maybe it's possible.
Sure.
And then I went into her class. I helped. You could set up lunches.
Okay.
In the mornings.
Yeah.
And I listened to the way she interacted with this black kid, and I was like, I think she might be racist.
Wow.
The way she's talking to him is different than the way she's talking to the white kid. And then it wasn't racist. It was just they were kids with like a little bit of a learning disability that were frustrating to her.
Oh yeah.
So then I looked at her and I was like, oh, let me look at her as a comic, right? Like you know when you size someone up in the audience?
Sure.
Yeah. You're like, bro, you're wearing a sleeveless shirt. I can't take you serious. Like, and and I was like, oh, Georgia, she's wearing 3 different colors of black. Like she's wearing 3 different tones of black. She got dressed assuming she was dressed in all black, but her pants are a different color black than her shoes, than her shirt.
Yeah.
That's a crazy person.
Yeah.
Like a crazy person dresses in 3 different shades of black.
Well, and it's a person that doesn't like themselves because to my mind, not to be Sherlock Holmes stand-up style, but it's like this person does not have a lot of lights on in her house when she's getting dressed because she doesn't want to look at herself in the mirror.
Doesn't look at herself in the mirror. Not attractive. Hair not done. And then I said, let's go take a look at what car she drives. Like these are all things you can use to figure out.
Whereas if you were doing stand-up, you'd be like, let me guess your car.
Yep, exactly. Let me guess, a 91 Toyota Tercel? You got it. Like, and it just...
Is it white and dirty?
Covered in dust. It was black and covered in dust. To the point
Same
where
difference.
you're like, oh, it's the windshield wipers are the only thing she can see out of.
Yeah.
And I was like, Georgia.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what would have happened in our lives if my car was so dirty, all I could see out is of the windshield wipers?
Yeah, I mean, the only excuse for that is if you've been running for like days from zombies.
Oh yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Yeah,
and so, but that's the one thing. And then there are really great teachers.
Yeah,
my daughter's got a teacher. I wish I could say the guy's name because his name makes the joke, makes the story so much better.
Yeah.
I know I've said this on the podcast before, but my daughter really connected with this guy.
Okay,
like, and I'll call him like, give me a great white guy last name. I'll say Braunger.
Sure.
Like Braunger, because Braunger's a great last name.
Thanks.
Isla goes, oh, Mr. Braunger's got it tough. I said, really? She goes, yeah. He's lost 3 friends this month, Dad. I said, what do you mean? She goes, death. And life comes at you quick.
What?
Basically, but I go, what teacher is telling his class that he's lost 3 friends this month? Auditions, no one wants to give roles to white guys. The guy's oversharing with his class to the point where I am dying laughing.
He's sitting out on the loading dock packing a box of Marlboro Reds.
Yeah. And I go...
Smoking butts with your kid.
I go, and then I said, and the other one, she goes, Hollywood's not been nice to him, Dad. They don't give roles to white guys anymore. And I went,
what?
Hold on, wait. How did you hear this? She goes, actually, Dad, I'm not supposed to tell you about this. I walked into the class and he was crying and he just told me, and he told me not to tell anybody. And I was I go, Isla, listen, this is a guy that is on the edge. Do not fuck with this guy.
Okay, listeners, he's talking about me. I occasionally teach class. I am Mr. Braunger. I was crying because I didn't get cast in something. And that's insane.
And then I wrote a script and Isla came back and she goes, can I read it? And I go, yeah, of course. She goes,
you let your kid read your script?
Yeah, this one's pretty funny.
I'm just impressed. I'm impressed.
But it's about them. It's about the premise. I mean, I took it out. No one really wanted it. I mean, I think I'll make it on my own.
Sure.
But I didn't take it out, but I gave it to my managers and agents, and they were kind of like, well, we think we should develop you as a father. This one isn't technically you as a father.
Okay.
So my daughters learn how to time travel.
Oh, yeah.
But they do it when they're like 25 and they're idiots and they fuck everything up. They don't know any of the rules of time travel. Okay. So as their father now, I go out with them at 25 and 27 and have to time travel with them and fix things.
Oh, wow.
And it's a little edgy. Like one of the episodes, they go to kill Hitler. They think that would be a good idea to travel back. But they go to his art classes and they don't know what he looks like sitting on the mustache yet.
Of course.
And they just kill all his friends and then they blame it on the Jews.
Yeah.
And so they create the Holocaust. Yeah, so and obviously you can see no one in what corporate television or corporate Hollywood would want to touch something like that. But the way the internet is, part of me is like, I fucking want to Patreon it and just make it.
Yeah, why not?
But Isla came back and she's like, could you slide in a role for Mr. Braunger, Dad? And I was like, what? She goes, just a little bit part. It would really help him out. Part of me, it breaks my heart because my daughter is so sweet.
Yeah.
That she's like, cares about this teacher. And then he got suspended for calling a kid a fucking asshole.
Oh God.
Yeah, you know the kid was just like,
Oh, yeah.
you know, it's that alpha kid who sensed his weaknesses.
Yeah, and just kept poking the bear.
Oh yeah, and was
Yeah.
like, oh, Bronger's on edge, guys.
On edge.
I bet we can fucking get him to lose it.
Hey, Bronco, you not get that callback? Did you get that callback for that?
I would almost want my daughter to help me write a script about this guy and have you play the teacher, Mr. Bronger.
Oh, I'm in. I play that guy.
And just a guy who overshares to kids makes me laugh so hard.
That's a great idea for a character. That's so funny.
Just
like,
overshares. And so I wrote the bit. So the very first episode of the pilot, they come back to save my wife's life. They don't realize they fucked everything up.
Okay.
And they don't want to leave. And so they're almost like guests you can't kick off the couch, but they're from the future.
Sure.
And they're interacting with themselves. They're taking themselves out. They have a party and they invite my grandparents and all they do is smell them. Like it's all like, and they invite Mr. Bronger because they love Mr. Bronger.
That's great.
And they bring Mr. Bronger out to figure out time travel because he was their science teacher. And so the whole time they're back like, and so then when they leave, they're like, we've talked to Mr. Bronger. We got to figure it out. And that's when they go kill Hitler.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
But yeah, I want to talk about all the stuff you've done in Hollywood, but I want to know about the Chicago scene.
Okay.
And I'm like, I've always been, you're the only guy I ever knew from Portland.
Oh, really?
I don't know anyone from Portland.
Oh, wow. Well, no, you know Ian.
No.
You don't know Ian Carmel?
I mean, I met him once.
Oh, okay.
But by the way, Ian's an interesting guy because I guess Shane Torres is from Portland, maybe.
I mean, he's originally from Texas, but yeah, he came up in the comedy scene.
Originally from Mexico, if we're going to be honest, right, guys?
Am I right, guys?
Am I right? Right. There, he's one of them. Get him.
Yeah. What does he call himself? Like a Eskimo meatloaf. Yeah, he came up in it, but he's not from there. But same with Ron Funches.
Yeah, I know Ron.
He's originally from Chicago.
But you're from Portland. Yeah. Oh,
what part of Portland?
Salem area. I grew up in Holgate Boulevard, actually.
You grew up in Holgate?
Yeah.
In Southeast?
Mm-hmm. He knew a guy.
Dude,
he knew some comics.
I have a house on Holgate that I rent out to like a family. Yeah, that's insane. That's insane.
Yeah, but I knew you were from Portland because of Bridgetown.
Yeah.
So but I never knew anyone from. I've been to the Portland scene a lot.
Sure.
Oh, Ian Carmel. Shane, I think it's got to be Shane, told me about All Fantasy Everything.
Yes.
And I listened to an episode and I loved it.
Yeah. Oh, you got to go on.
And then I started promoting it on my podcast. I believe in goodwill. I believe in if you like something, spread it. If something's good, spread it out there.
Yeah.
And
I can't wait to have you on mine, by the way.
Oh, I'm dying to.
It's going to be the most fun. We've just started having guests.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh, you're like Segura and Push just started having guests again.
Pretty much.
Guests are the best.
Yeah. It's
You
like
do a
I want to
solo
space
one?
it out because mine's only my thing's only a half an hour.
Yeah.
But like when I listen to the calls, which my producer picks for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's called Advice from a Dipshit. I'm sorry to plug, but like
Is this your third podcast?
Second. No, it's the new incarnation of my old one of Ding Donger of Matt Braunger, but it's basically what it's.
And you had another one called Matt's.
Oh my God!
Matt
That was
Dwyer.
back in 2009.
Matt Dwyer, right?
Yeah, with me.
I know
me
Matt
and
Dwyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Matt Dwyer very well.
Oh, me too. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
an old friend.
No, I mean I say very well. I'm sure Matt would be like, Bert, we know each other.
Yeah,
but yeah. So anyway, Ian, I just been talking about him. But I didn't know him at all, and then I was in a bar in New York, and he like came up and he's like, "I'm Ian Carmel," and I was like, "Oh, dude, I love your fucking podcast." He's like,
"Oh, wow."
He's like, "Hey, thank you for talking so much about it," and I was like, "No, it's great. I love listening to it." He's like, "I gotta get you on," and then there's this guy, stand up Batman, stand-up's Batman. Do you not know who this is?
It sounds really familiar.
By the way, I hate that him and Ian have beef because no one knows who this guy is.
I don't really know him,
but like he's if it's a guy taking the piss out of stand up, right?
Okay,
like that's all he is. And he's a comic. I'm pretty sure it's Earl Skakel, but I don't think. I'm almost certain it's not. Earl said it's not him.
That would make sense, but
Earl said it's not him, but it's a pretty funny fucking guy, which Earl is.
Earl is so funny,
and he's and a real true punk in the sense that like fucking anti everything, just fucking take the shit down.
Yeah, okay.
And that's so Earl in a way.
Yeah, for sure.
And Earl is absolutely fucking hilarious.
Yeah, he is.
So, but it's not Earl. Everyone says it's not Earl.
Okay.
But I follow him because he shit on me a few times and it made me laugh.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm sorry, wait, Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura are different people? Why didn't anyone tell me about this?
That's funny.
Like, that's kind of stuff he does.
Sure.
But apparently got into beef with Ian, and I did not read that it was beef. I just read Ian's tweet.
Okay.
And so I retweeted it. And then immediately, I retweeted the beef.
Oh, okay.
And then everyone came at me. And I was like, and then even Ian was like, yo, man, I thought we were cool. I was like, we are.
See.
Like, I was literally like, we are. Why?
It's like, and we're back to what we were talking about in terms of the starkness of the written word, where it's like,
I thought I was just retweeting a funny joke Ian had posted.
and I'm sure I would have had the same reaction, either yours or his. You know, I don't even know. But it's that thing where you feel anytime someone comes at you, even though it's like a troll or a joke or whatever, it's like you just like, hey, what the shit? And then, oh God, I mean, I get why like Jonah Ray and a bunch of my friends are like, they just don't go on Twitter anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's a garbage fire.
It doesn't, nothing good is coming out of it for me.
Right.
Like, I don't think people are buying tickets from it.
Yeah.
I don't think they are. I get my news from it, and it's fun to talk shit about sports because
I will say that I learned someone's dead right away on Twitter.
Oh, Mac Miller, I was like right on top of that.
Yeah, dude.
Who's the one I tweeted out the other? Like it's good for news. It's good for like stuff like that. But even still, it's like the Serena thing, dude. This bothered me so fucking much. Is like it's these feminists are then saying immediately when the Serena thing went down, and I watch the Serena thing, and I watch it from a very innocent place of going like, fuck that guy. Like when the girl took her shirt off on the thing.
Oh, brutal.
And I go, fuck that guy. Why can't she take her fucking shirt off? She's wearing a fucking sports bra.
That's dyed-in-the-wool sexism right there, for sure.
Yeah, and then when Serena's standing up, no, by the way, I mean, clearly, admittedly, the coach was giving her signals. Okay, that's fine.
Well, and the thing I'm still learning about. I don't know anything about tennis, but it's one of those things where they always allow that, always.
Yeah.
And this guy decided to. It'd be like, rules are rules, granted.
Yeah, rules are
but
rules,
it'd
granted.
be like if there are rules in the books in like Arkansas where you can't live with a pig in your house or something like that. You have like a pet pig, and you're like,
can't
what?
have oral sex in Alabama.
Correct, like shit like that. That's just like, it's a rule, but
But so like clearly whatever. But she didn't see the fucking thing. She just like. And then I've always enjoyed people that lose their shit on fucking.
I don't know how you don't.
I was like, wait, no one doesn't. Who doesn't like this? Who gets offended when a fucking tennis player goes, "Fuck that, that's bullshit"? Yeah, I love that. That's why I watch the fucking tennis
isn't
matches.
Isn't that your human right?
Yeah,
it's like if you come. Anytime an athlete gets a massive check or anything like that, I'm like, yes. Because it's like, who should get that money? The owner?
Yeah.
I don't care. So it's like with these people, not that it's like they should be allowed to be children, but they can be emotional. They should be allowed to be emotional.
Dude, when Johnny Manziel got in not Johnny Manziel, this is bad. Baker Mayfield got in trouble for telling another player on the other team to suck his dick,
right?
And he had to apologize. I go, no. That's why it's called competition.
Right.
You got to stroke the animal. The animal needs to be in there. And when Serena lights up, I go, light him up, motherfucker.
Well, and she wasn't like, you idiot. She
could have been, and I still would have been on her side.
Absolutely.
She could have been like, suck my pussy. And I would have been like, oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine?
I would have loved it.
That would have been amazing.
But the first thing you see on Twitter is like, men, this is why you suck. And I'm like, hold on, you're talking to me. Like, I don't suck.
But they're not, though. They're kind of talking about the patriarchy.
I know, but that's how I read it. I go,
right.
And now I'm on Twitter angry.
Sure. Well, and it's like, yes, I agree with where you're coming from, because it is like the designation, the targeting is like, it's incorrect. It's basically like, this is the atmosphere founded, by the patriarchy. And it's like, yeah, absolutely. Because that guy's not lighting into men like that. He isn't. No. There's no way he is. None of them are.
By the way, if we were going to really dissect it, I think his last name's Ramos. So let's not fucking point out men. Point out the fucking guy is a Latino guy, and he's fucking. Let's really fucking whittle it down.
Do you think that's got something to do with it?
Well, yeah, I'm sure it does. I'm sure there's. I mean, maybe I'm fucking wrong. I don't know.
Well, you mean like are you speaking on like
misogyny,
cultural misogyny?
Cultural misogynies.
Okay,
it ranges. It varies throughout. I think it's.
Well,
I think the patriarchy's there,
and even more to the point, I think it's look at the sport. They still make them wear those fucking skirts. It's that thing.
She couldn't even wear that badass Catwoman suit.
Yeah, and it's dumb, and it's a thing of like women should be this. It's like it's always been women should be this, but men, hey, boys are boys. What are you gonna do? Men got to be men. And it's just like,
I got so bothered by that because I was like, I'm reading it and everyone's attacking me technically. It's like if I said, here's a problem with women.
yeah.
Every woman will read that and go, well, he's not talking about us. He's talking about, the problem.
I mean, it's I could see people, but
If I go, here, this is the problem with women, everyone will be like, what the fuck?
right.
But like, or like what I just said, here's the problem with Ramos.
Right.
But no, but like I got pissed because then I'm like, I'm on her team. Like, wait, what? How come I'm getting attacked? And then I just hopped offline and I was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
It's not worth my Sunday. Like my Sunday shouldn't be spent.
Well, and you, the thing is, I think you just gotta take it the way it's meant to be taken. Is it's not you. It's not you, but it's like that we do live in a system that we benefit from as men, created by men. And it's like back to that's the problem with those Proud Boy fucks is that it's just like, like they relish that kind of shit. They relish that kind of thing makes you mad and want to be like, yeah, that's why you got to join us, Bert, man. They're all against us, and they're not all against us.
But I think the same. I think if we're gonna isolate and polarize those Proud Boys, then that woman who sent that tweet's identical.
But they're not the same. No, I feel like what you're saying right there is definily like Trump thinking, where it's kind of like bad on both
it's
sides.
Not Trump. I wouldn't say it's Trump thinking.
Well, I only say that because the the thing with the riot where he was just like there were bad people on both sides, and it's just like there are good people on both sides. Like there are good people and those racists walking with torches, those are good people.
There weren't good people on both sides. I don't think.
No, and I wouldn't equate the people calling out the sexism as for the other guys too.
Okay. I just think I maybe I'm incorrect on that. I just do think that the far left and the far right, if we got rid of both of them, then we would just have a bunch of people going like, I think everyone should, like, I agree. I think there are some fucked up people. Like people will be like, that was fucked up.
If you're talking about extreme right and extreme left, then on a certain level I might agree with you. But I think in the end, the extreme left in the end wants to help as many people as possible and create equality.
Do they want to help as many people as possible, or do they want to help themselves?
No, I think it's I can't speak for everybody, but I think the foundation of it, if you have like as far left you go, would be probably like communism, which means everybody gets the same, which doesn't work because human greed exists. Yeah. Myself, I'm definitely a lefty.
I'm talking about the Evergreen University people.
Yeah, of course.
Like those, I don't think they're good people. Those women women and men who are saying to the principal, you lower your hands. You don't speak to us with your hands raised. Okay. I think those are bad people.
Yeah, but I mean, I also think that's so incredibly fringe. And
but what I'm saying is those fringe on both sides.
It's more to your point. Yes, fringe.
I think the fringe on both sides. I think
we're talking about if you have what you might call splinter groups. I would definitely agree with you. Where it's just like, Jesus God, man. Come on.
I don't think Proud Boys are like is that a big organization?
Not really.
I think,
and it's like let's stop use. I'll stop using that term because it's like I just don't want to give them any more.
Yeah, I don't really give a fuck about both of those far ones. I look at that middle of the country.
I hear what you're saying.
Who go like just the middle of the road people, like probably like me and you, who just go like who see the Serena thing and I didn't see that. I just saw that it's like something I liked, and I go, I'm right. Fucking stand up for yourself,
right? And all I want is to have a conversation. I don't want a screaming match.
Yeah.
I don't want to tell people maybe I'm totally wrong. Boy, I don't think so. But I'm not going to go scream in your face over. I'm against the disenfranchisement of people for whatever race or whatever sex they are, whatever their sexual inclination.
Yeah. Let me rephrase that though, so that it's just to make myself clear about what I'm saying.
Well, and I think you're like this too. In a sense, I'm talking about both of us.
Yeah, I think both of us are on the same side. I think
absolutely.
I definitely am well aware of white privilege. I'm well aware of privilege.
Right.
I'm well aware of please. I'm well aware of the patriarchy. I'm well aware of what that is.
Yes,
absolutely. I get all of that, and I think it's existing, and I think it's been existing. I think obviously there's nuance in all of it, and I think that there are white people like Theo Von who could argue he didn't benefit from white privilege because he grew up so poor.
Sure.
And you go, okay,
and those people exist.
And my wife's family.
Yeah.
And I think there's always.
But Theo does have a mullet on purpose at his age. Yeah. So does he know the difference between right and wrong? I mean, no.
And
I love Theo.
I love listening to new points of views, and I love listening to people. I used to really love listening to Lindy West. Lindy West? Mm-hmm. Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
Lindy West. I used to love listening to her.
I still think Lindy's pretty great.
I think she was. She's pretty. I stopped. The only reason I stopped following her on Twitter because it was always fighting with people.
Yes.
And I was like, I don't want that in my life.
And my thing was, and there were times she would say something that I would definitely disagree with, or her MO or whatever she was doing. But it was that thing where,
even if I disagreed, I wanted to go, hold on.
Yeah.
I would always take the disagreement and then agree with her first.
Right.
And go, I don't agree with this. Let me see how I can back engineering myself into this opinion.
And my thing is always, I don't know your struggle. I don't know anyone's but my own. So
and mine's been pretty light.
So I know, right, same. So like I no matter how someone reacts, in their situation, who am I to go, hey, you're doing that wrong, in a sense, you know? Even though, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to sit back and be like, well, he set my house on fire, but I am white, so I deserve this. It's like, I'm not going to not protect myself or the things I believe in and things like that, but I just think, back to Twitter, the reason why it's such a garbage fire is because fights start like that.
That's
and
okay.
Everyone wants to. It's like, what'll solve this argument? A flamethrower. It's like, no, it won't. It will not help anything.
One Molotov cocktail.
Just one. Yeah.
Because like, you watch it on Twitter and you're just like, dude,
what are you doing? Because it's everyone's reaction is to have, immediate meltdown, scorch the earth, let me kill everyone who disagrees with me, and then there's no one left. What
if we took away vocal cords until you were 40? Like you had to.
I think you just solved it.
You had to earn your vocal cords.
You solved it.
Like you could say small sentences like, "Can I take your order?" But that's it.
I do believe that everyone should have to wait tables for 2 weeks. Everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Like in Israel, you have to be in the army for a year. 2 weeks.
That's a great
2 weeks in America. Everybody.
That's fucking great.
People don't. I mean, nothing bugs me more than when I'm in a restaurant with someone and and they just are shady to the staff or what. For no reason. I'm just like, man,
you weren't there.
You don't know.
Even when I've had waitresses having a bad day, I say waitress. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Waiters or waitresses that are having a bad day, I immediately go, I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there. Mm-hmm. Where you don't mean to be short with everyone, but you're like, I'm sorry I haven't gotten to you. Like, I know I've been watching you out of the corner of my fucking eye. I know you've been sitting there for 10 minutes. I'm super fucking swamped. I'm in the weeds. Derek didn't show up today because he's got a fucking drug problem. And I knew it. And I called him on it last night. And our boss still made me fucking work a double. And so, like, I still, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever talk politics in stand-up?
No. Not
either.
Really. Here's
not politics or just social stuff.
I mean, I have a special coming out called Finally Live in Portland. I swear to God, I'm not just using this as a segue, but the most political thing was the guys that I saw at a Trump rally that were openly sig heiling, and my bit was, one of them was just super drunk and thought he'd try it. And was like, and it was like the girl who was wasted in Mardi Gras. She's like, I've never shown my boobs. Should I, you guys?
Yeah.
And then, but as soon as you do, the cameras go off. Same thing. This guy's like drunk and he's like, this is allowed? We can do this now? And he sick howls, yeah. And all the cameras goes off and he comes to work the next day. He's like, oh, I'm so hungover. What did I do last night? What did I do last night? And the guy's like, yeah, man, you see today's New York Times? And he's like, what? Oh my God, I was Nazi drunk last night. And it's like that. So it doesn't, I mean, it gets into white privilege, but it gets into white privilege as I've experienced.
Yeah.
Me too. And I have a bit about maybe not recognizing yours, because I think that's just the key. We have to recognize it and go from there. See how we can help our powers for others. That's it. So that's about as political as I get. I
always veer, like I always go, Burr's going to do it better than me anyway.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
like
or Lewis Black
or Jim Jeffries.
Yes, Jim Jeffries is.
I'm not gonna out politics them.
Well, and they. I think if you're doing politics, you obviously have to do it as an average Joe, and it's like none of us are really average Joes anymore. Not really, because we've made a living off of this thing, and we still are average. We do average Joe stuff, but it's like, who is it? Like, I think John Cougar Mellencamp was like, it's hard being Jack Kerouac with a gold card, man. Yeah. So he's like, it's like, how do you still write these songs about working in a farm town, married a supermodel. Wait, hold on. Let me start the song again. You know, like we've been extremely fortunate.
Bought me a new pair of boots.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, and that is why, you know, people tend to hate celebrities speaking on stuff, because it's like, you know, we got all our money through a high degree of luck, in a sense. You
Dude,
know?
I saw them light up Chelsea Handler yesterday.
Who's they?
Probably the alt-right, I'm assuming. I don't know. I don't trust any. I mean, I'm being really,
I guess, and I shouldn't be saying who. You just saw someone let it doesn't matter.
I'm just, it's what it is. What I don't like what's happening right now, and I say they, I say on, and I do say both sides, just because it's a tit for tat. Like, it's like I watched people go after like comedians for making jokes, like James Gunn,
right?
And that bothered me, because they didn't care about the
James
joke.
Gunn
They actually
was
didn't
so
care about the
stupid.
joke.
Yeah,
they didn't. They actually probably thought the joke was funny,
right?
But they said, no, you've done this to us. Now we do this to you.
Yes,
and that's what I don't like. I go,
exactly
no. Know who the fuck you are.
Yeah,
I mean, it just bothered me. But anyway, she did a very innocent joke about. By the way, I'm a fan of Chelsea Handler's, even though I call her cunt on my special. I'm a fan of hers. I am a fan of hers.
I'm sure she took it as a compliment. Come on,
we
both know her very well.
And she was like, this. I look. I don't want to give it energy.
Yeah,
you know, I like Chelsea, but it was basically someone trying to call her on her hypocrisy.
Okay,
and it was like, there's no hypocrisy there. She's just trying.
Yeah,
she's just trying to be cool to someone she's working with.
Right,
and it was just like, and so I veer away from it. Chelsea can deal with it. Amy can deal with it. Amy, like I think it is for most of these people. I think it's a Plexico burst, shoot yourself in the foot moment. Like,
could be. Yeah.
Like with.
And look, it's all about what you're passionate about, what you're not. My thing was always like, my mother is very political. My parents are very political. I do some stuff. I mostly just try to help. You know, like I'll do volunteer work. I will march if I believe in a thing. This, that, and the other. And I definitely state my views on my social media, but that's because it's mine and I can barf whatever I want in there. In terms of stand-up, my mother would say like, oh, why don't you talk about this stuff more? And I'm like, because I'm not funny enough. Like I am, but it's like I feel like some people could, like Bill Hicks, could just hit it out of the park, and even if you disagree with them, wow, you know. First and foremost, I want it to be funny. This is not my time to get up there and tell people how to feel. But if I want to get them, I feel like the comedian's job is to make people see things through your eyes, to show perspective. That's job number one, as you know, / being funny. You know, so it's like in terms of, I never tried. I don't necessarily shy away from political stuff, but it's just like it's rare that I you know, when Trump did that first State of the Union and it was so awful, I was at the store and I was just in the middle of a joke. I was like, you guys see the State of the Union? Really good, right? So good. And then just kept going. Yeah. And it got a huge laugh, but that was all I did. And it was, you know, I definitely don't like him, but even if I was a big righty and I loved him, that would have still killed because he did a horrible job. Yeah. Would have been the same thing if Obama had did a horrible, you know, like it's just one of those things.
It's hard to, I think with it, especially, I wouldn't say liberal politics, but I guess liberal politics, but I couldn't even say that but it's hard to like, with comedy at the base being contrarian.
Yes.
Like, I think the point I'm saying is like with Bill Burr taking his stance is like he's got a new joke being anti-military. Yes. The second you hear that, you go, as a fan, I go, how's he working his way out of this? Like that's the fun. Listening. That's the fun of comedy. Yes. Is like watching someone work their way out of the hole. Yeah. And get you to agree with them and laugh. As opposed to going like, I can't imagine there would be anyone that we would enjoy that went, I don't know about you guys, but I'm for the military. Immediately it's pandering. Yes. And you're like, of
course it is.
Okay, we all are, right? Yeah. How are you going to,
Jesus.
Yeah. Unless you can work your way back into it the other way.
And it's like, I always use Patrice O'Neal as an example because just a genius comedian. Yeah. I disagree with almost everything he ever said, but I would still laugh, you know, but that's because he was so good. That's because he was so good.
He was so
undeniably amazing. So it's that thing where you know, you can make me laugh and I'll disagree with you, but like, you better be pretty good if you're going to be talking about, you know, something I am completely, you know, anti or whatnot. And I feel like the reason why there isn't a quote unquote conservative like or right wing kind of Daily Show is because their humor tends to skew. I'm biased. Just tends to skew mean and tends to you know like kind of it's just not as clever. But that's why I don't like defining it as left or right, because Bill Burr said some of the most right wing shit I've ever heard in my life and makes it funny. But you wouldn't. He's not up at a rally. You know. I know people that say like, you know, lefty stuff that's like you would never consider them lefty, but it's just like we all have these thoughts. The problem is making it as funny as possible without just the joke is not just dropping a ton of rocks on a certain bunch of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's Patrice. What's really fascinating is when you go back and listen to Patrice, and like it's almost like. What I like is when he can call us on our bullshit that we didn't know we were. Oh, like my favorite joke. I have a ton of favorite jokes he has. Yeah, but when he talks about Natalie Holloway.
Oh my God! And about the value of a
white life versus
a white pretty girl.
Yeah, and no one agreed with him. Yeah, when he started that, no one agreed with him.
Yep. Nope.
And at the end, everyone's like, "I guess you made us."
When he called out like 3 women of color who were missing, and he's like, "Yo, you don't know who that is, do you?" And it was like, "Oh my God."
Patrice was, in essence, very liberal
in a lot of ways.
Like when you think about what
but he was
saying,
like also insanely misogynist.
Oh,
you know,
God,
you cannot call that guy a feminist. Not really. He's about as feminist as a pimp.
Actually, I think he disliked women.
It could be said.
He had a joke. That I don't know where I heard this, and I don't know. I don't know if I heard it on stage. But comparing his girlfriend to his dogs.
Yeah.
And do you know the joke I'm talking about?
Yes.
About saying she needs me, but she doesn't know she needs me. Yeah. At least my dogs know they need me.
Yeah. Yeah. Or all his like side chicks as they work for him. Yeah. Where like he's like I don't even know if I have room for you. I mean, okay, I got to open in at 2 a.m. You come suck my dick. I'll drink your last Snapple.
I'll drink your last Snapple.
We have an opening there. Like, oh my God, like that's how he looks at it.
It's so funny. Know? I was just listening to Liza Traeger.
Oh
Liza Traeger talk about misogyny, and it was on Robert Kelly's podcast. It was really interesting.
I think Liza's really funny.
Really, the only thing more funny than Liza on stage is Liza off stage when you're pissing her off.
Oh,
I pissed her off one night so bad. It was
this in when we were on that Vegas fest?
No. Okay. No. No, but it was before that. Okay. And she was still mad at me for this.
Was she?
I had gotten high in Nashville. It was me, Nate Bargatze, Ari Shaffir, and Liza.
Okay.
And Liza was playing this game where you flash like a card on your head.
Okay.
Or no, it's like you flash a thing on your head and it's a symbol.
Okay.
And the other person's it's on your phone.
Oh, it's like liar's poker.
It's like so it'll be like an airplane on your phone, right?
Oh, okay.
And then I show it to you on my forehead, right? I have it on my forehead.
Yeah.
And then you've got to get me to guess it. It's on my forehead, but you got to get me. You're like, every comic had a joke about them. You get up early to go get them. Airplane. And you go, yes. And then you move your phone and it changes to the next one.
Oh,
right?
yes. I played that game.
And it's on a timer.
Yeah.
So we all get high. And I misunderstood the rules to the game. So she puts the first one up and she goes, go. And I go, airplane. It's on her head. And she goes, no, Bert, you're not supposed to do it like that. You're supposed to make me guess. And I said, okay. So then she does the next one. And I go, what's a bike? And she goes, no, you're not doing it right. And then we're all high. Ari starts laughing. And she's like, no, Bert, stop. And she puts the next one and I go, snake. And then she just starts to get so angry.
Yeah.
But what's funny is that she can't control that anger in that moment. And we're just supposed to be playing a game to laugh.
Yeah.
And whatever we were playing.
If I was stoned, I'd be crying.
We are
game.
Howling laughing.
Yeah, it's so.
And she was like, and she kept playing the game. Going, stop it. And then she put the next one up.
She had to become everyone's mom.
And everyone just wait. And no one was, she's like, guys, try to get me to guess it. And I go, bus? Dude, I have never laughed
she
so
wanted to
hard.
stab you.
And I thought I think she was genuinely angry.
Yeah.
But I listened to her on Bobby's and she made some really great points about teaching men the value of women, or teaching men. I'm not going to rephrase her because I'll fuck it up and she'll go, that's not what I said. Okay. But like, it was really interesting.
Yeah.
And when you look back at the way, like, especially like the way you hear sometimes Patrice talk about women,
sure,
you're like, I can't believe I laughed at some of that shit.
Oh yeah.
Like some of the stuff you're like, well, what mindset was I in at 25?
Right.
That I'm dying laughing at, like, oh, you can suck my dick and I'll drink your last Snapple.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's also a person.
Yeah.
Like,
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did a bit about, there's a thing on fucking Line that I swear to God is just racist.
Yeah.
It's Patrice explaining why he doesn't like Asians.
Okay.
And Asian people calling in trying to change his mind and him just going, nah, you're horrible people.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, I think the thing is, like, God bless the dead, but Patrice would probably tell you he was a horrible person.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't.
I mean, I know, you know, or at the very least a scumbag.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
friends
yeah,
with
yeah,
a-
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
friends
yeah,
with a few
yeah.
scumbags.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
he had
yeah,
that,
yeah.
you know, that bit about how he found out he had diabetes? How he's like, me and my girl, we get nasty.
Yeah.
Nasty. And we finished, and she's like, I don't know what to tell you, but she's saying this to him. Your piss tastes like birthday cake. Yeah. So you're right. You're already into there, and they do waterworks. It's like, that's a disgusting guy.
Waterworks.
That's a gross person.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, I'm not judging. If you like to pee on your lover or be peed on,
yeah,
God bless, you know? But it's that thing where it's just, he probably contained horrible multitudes. Like,
that's so funny.
Yeah.
It's almost like he went out at the right time. I would love for him to be here. I would love to hear his take on what's going on.
Yeah.
But like, I would love for him to be here.
Well, look, I mean, I think he was a master debater. He was a master in the moment. Did you see when he was that last roast he did of, like, was it Charlie Sheen?
Charlie Sheen's, yeah.
Where were you close enough to see the teleprompter? Were you there at the Comedy Central roast?
No, I don't go to those.
Okay. Well, I've been to a couple, you know, where they give you a table with your friends and
I would love to, but
they bring carafes of vodka. Yeah.
Oh, God.
It's something. But like you could see him, he got up there and he had a whole thing that I'm sure he cleared with the censors.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, and he just starts out by ripping on Jeselnik, which I loved. Like, I fucking love Jeselnik, but it's so fun to see someone rip on him, where he's like, I don't know where you get this confidence, man. Like, to me, this guy's an open micer, period.
Yeah.
You know? And then, you can see the teleprompter going, the guy's just winding it up, winding it down, winding it up. Hey, are you going to say any of this?
Yeah.
You can say anything? And he's ignoring it. And he's just going off the top of his head because they were making fun of someone who's black on the panel and talking about, someone made like a sickle cell joke, you know, a disease that affects primarily African Americans. And just off the top of his head, Patrice O'Neill whipped out that disease that affects primarily people of Hebrew descent. I forget what it is.
God damn it.
You know what I mean? Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
On Rosh Hashanah, I bring this up. I'm sorry to all my Jewish brothers and sisters.
I just learned about it 2 days ago.
Yeah, but he just had that cocked and loaded in case someone made a sickle cell joke. I
couldn't tell you
and
the
he
name
said
of the
it's all the Jewish people in the room, or comedians, or execs, or agents, or whatever, you know, that were there. It was just this clap back, which he just had ready. So it's like, I know he would definitely probably be scorching the earth on a lot of people who were like back and forth, but like I said, I'm for conversation, and I'm for disagreement, and I'm for, you know, in the end, live and let live. And it's there are certain things we got to put to bed. Like you brought up Eliza. It's like, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, there was still someone who was like, yeah, women aren't funny. I'm like, and I won't say who this is. It was like a comic or whatever. But like, you know, I was like, could you ever follow Liza Traeger? Could you ever follow Liza Schlesinger? Could you ever follow Amy Miller, Deborah Giovanni? These are beasts. Yeah. These are wild animals. They will destroy rooms that you couldn't break open, you know? Like, there are women who I'm still just like, whoo, I got to follow Bamford?
Yeah.
Shit, you know? And so like that, not that concept isn't already put to bed, but I feel like the problem is we have people that keep propping them up. They keep propping up stuff that's already been destroyed. We're like, no, that's not true, you know? But we still have so much to kind of talk about. I just wish we wouldn't. slash each other's throats at the first sign of disagreement. Somewhere.
Dude, that's where my head is like, like let's just have a conversation. Just because someone thinks something doesn't mean they're wrong. It just means like that's the way they're seeing the world. Like, yeah, the fact that I get really frustrated at the fact that they think women are funny. If you like, no joke, go on Nikki Glazer's podcast or radio show, You Up.
Nikki's so funny.
Is one of the quickest, funnest people to do radio with.
Yeah.
And I'm not like, fuck an act. Fuck an act.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, hang with that person.
Yeah.
Hang with Eliza and just go tit for tat, joke for joke for joke. You're going to be fucking treading water, going like, shit, god damn it, how are they doing this so fast? And I've been doing it 20 years almost.
Yeah. Kathleen Madigan, Jesus Christ,
dude, I can't really. I can understand someone not. I can understand someone. I can understand a guy going, I don't like female comedians. That's fine. Yeah,
I mean, it's your preference.
It's a preference. Same as if you go, I don't like black comedians.
Yeah.
You know? I don't like Mexican
imagine
comedians.
ever saying that? I can't imagine ever saying
that. No, but there's people who just don't tune into Cat Williams. By the way, I tune into Cat Williams.
Yes.
I watched
Cat has achieved levels that none of us will achieve.
But there are white people, and that maybe wouldn't even say it, but believe it. Like, my dad probably isn't watching Cat Williams special.
No, but I mean, Cat Williams is a very specific demographic.
But like when I'm saying like there are white people that will go, it's just not for me. You know? Yeah, I think people just have the balls to say it about women. Like, women are funny.
And I think but even when you say like, even when this person, not you, says that, it's kind of like, well, you're talking about something you don't know. You know? It's kind of like if I was like, you know who's dumb? NASCAR fans. That's not true.
Yeah.
That's a stereotype.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
True. A lot of them are stupid. A lot of fans of classical music are stupid. It doesn't matter.
People look at me and they go, I don't like bro comics.
Right.
And I go, okay. Like, I've heard it. People say that. There was when my special came out.
Sure.
Some guys, obviously an alt fan, was like, once again, Netflix gives a special to a bro comic. And it's like, enough of this fucking meathead alpha male testosterone. And I was like, well, you definitely didn't watch any of my specials.
You're not, and B, like, I really think that feeling when some people get when a woman gets on stage and they're like boo in their mind, that's insecurity on their part. And that's not having a good, happy sense of self. You and I know exactly how bad we are.
I understand that.
You and I know all the bad things we've done and how shitty we've been and the mistakes we've made. And so it's like, I don't care who gets up on that stage. It's just like, as long as you're funny, bro. You know, I don't think I'm special because I'm a white man, you know, and I know you don't either. And it's like, it's so funny because you calling yourself a bro. If I just saw a picture of you shirtless with a beard.
Yeah, I know.
Sure. But it's like that's your natural element, and you're not going. Yeah, people who don't like football can suck my dick. Yeah, woo, that's my time. You know?
Anyone who writes something off, like, you know, like it happened a lot when I started with people not liking the alt scene.
Yeah,
but I was like, no, there's some really brilliant people.
Can I tell you, you have one of my all-time favorite openers of all time, and I collect them in my brain.
What's that?
I collect the first lines of comedians in my head.
Oh, dude,
to steal and do on the road. No, but like Solomon Giorgio. He had one where he's like, I'm African and gay, which means I can make AIDS from scratch. Boom! Right?
What a great fucking line!
It's so genius and it's so dark and it's so awful. You know, I love it so much.
Oh, what a great!
And he says it in a, you know, like. Solomon's, you know, like he looks like a gay model, and so he's just like, well, here's something about me, you know, and it's just
make AIDS from scratch.
I remember going to Dublin's when I first moved to LA with Kal Kinane, and Jeff Klanger, and we were there, and it was just back when it was like it's fucking Dane Cook's house.
Yeah,
Dane Cook's house. You know, he can do anything he wants. Blah blah. I
remember that.
Yeah, remember those days?
Yes, I do.
But you were one of the guys going up first, and you just ran out on stage. You go, "Hey, I'm gonna fucking butcher it," but I've said it to a lot of friends. It's one of my favorite because I love an opening line that people go, "All right, whatever else you have to say, I'm
praying right now that I did it on the fly and I don't remember it, and I can start opening with it now."
Do it, because you went out stage. You're just like, I just took a shit so messy I had to wipe my legs. What's up with you guys? and it's all hot chicks that are there to see Dane cook, and they're like, ew, but then they're like, okay, it was funny, and it was, I gut laughed, and I'd never seen you before, and I was like, who is this fucker?
I remember that joke, and I never really told it. It was just like something I'd throw in every now and then.
I love it.
And I swear to God, in Oxnard last week, I was in a little bit of a hole, and I said it, and it got a laugh, and I went, yeah, whatever happened to that? And then and for the first time I ever with that joke, I started trying to work it out.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, but it's, once again, it's the reason I don't do observational comedy, because the things that happen to me, I feel like don't happen to anybody.
Right.
That's so funny. God damn it. I'm jealous that it wasn't as good as that Some and Giorgio line.
No.
That's such a great
They are
fucking
the
line.
same value. They are the same value.
Opening jokes are so fucking important.
And I don't have any of them. They're so, like, I mean, it's like some, but like, and it's like, I'm not Jeselnik. I'm not, Dan Mintz, where they write these perfectly crafted lines, and that's it. My shit is all story based.
I think we're very similar. I remember,
absolutely.
And the perfect example is I remember the first time ever knowing who you were. I was in the car. I can tell you where I was. I love when I can tell you where I was in a story.
Yeah.
We were driving. Segura used to live in fucking Koreatown, or worse than that.
It's not Koreatown-ish. It's like right near MacArthur Park.
Yeah, right by MacArthur Park. It was really fucking bad
where you get all the heroin you want.
Yeah. And I was pulling off his road, driving downtown to try to get to the 101. And he was giggling about something, and I said, what? And he goes, have you heard Matt Braunger's owl joke? And I was like, oh, okay. Wait, who's Matt Braunger? And he goes, oh, dude, it might be the best joke ever written. And I was like, well, tell it to me. He goes, it's not that kind of joke. I can't tell it to you. You got to see it.
Yeah.
Dude, I hunted this fucking owl joke for like months. I was like looking for it. And I think you even went up on stage one night, and I was like, are you going to tell your owl joke? And you're like, oh, probably not. I'm working on new stuff. And I was like, motherfucker.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, but yeah, that was the first time.
That was the one that broke me. That was the one that definitely like created a career for me.
Yeah.
And, like, I remember they did this like Comedy Central 2009, 9 comics of 2009. And it was like me, Nick Kroll, Whitney Cummings, Aziz, a couple other people. And it was like, we all talked about each other, and people were just talking about my owl joke. They weren't even talking about me. And I'm like, hey man, that's one joke I have. Guys, you know.
Where they talk about one joke and you're like,
oh no. Yeah.
No. I like it. I always like it. I would love, like, if you talk about anything I do, I get excited.
Yeah.
It's like Jay Larson's fucking, I will say this to this day. I would have put this on the last hour special he did. I know you burn material when you do Conan.
Right.
But I don't give a fuck. That goes on a special for me.
Yes.
If it works on Conan, it goes on a special.
Right.
His fucking prank call joke. Dude,
it's a great joke.
I will go through. I'm a big story guy. Like, meaning, I love a good story.
Oh yeah.
I sit back and I go, yeah. Like, and that.
Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing. I feel like it's better for us in the long run that we tell stories, because I still get people. I get like high schoolers asking me. I have this joke called Goes to the Two-Man Party, where a friend of mine and I grew up with, we got drunk in his mom's house when I was home from college, just the two of us, just having a two-man party, and then shit just started getting moved around the house. We weren't going near it, and we're like, it's a ghost, and we searched the house with like a machete and a bat, and we're like kicking doors open. We're like hammered and high, and I mean, spoiler, but the next day it was a little homeless woman just came out of something and left the house. She was in the house the whole night, and we went to sleep. She was just with us in the house, and like I freak out about it, and it's like I've told that story. That's my most listened to, downloaded joke. It goes that one I have called Wildcattin' about a bar in New Orleans story, and I think Owls is number 3.
Yeah.
So like that, because I still get high school kids and grown adults. Did that happen?
Yeah.
Did it? Yeah. If we're in Portland, I'll tell them where the house is.
Yeah.
I'll show them. His mom doesn't live there anymore. It's right off Wilshire Park.
Dude.
And those are the ones that stick with people, where it's because I feel like my stories, your stories, even Jay's stories, a lot of them have an element of, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, something's gone horribly wrong.
It's almost like, it's like you can watch your favorite movie 4 or 5 times.
Right.
Like, it's okay. I said this to Jay, but you know who really fucking hit home with me with this? Is Josh Wolf.
Yeah.
I did Josh Wolf's podcast, and he goes, hey man, just so you know, I'm gonna ask you to tell the machine story. And he goes, I know you probably don't want to tell it, but he goes, you got to realize, like, we don't have the same fans, so my fans will have never heard it.
That's so smart.
And and in my head, I was like, and by the way, I'm being very real. Josh will be on my podcast in a couple of weeks. I was like, I don't know, Josh. 40 million people heard it on my Facebook. I'm imagining, and let me tell you something. I got this huge fucking spike from doing Josh's podcast.
Awesome.
Kevin Euclid from the fucking Red Sox.
Oh, wow.
Called him and was like, hey man, that fucking machine story is amazing. Can I meet Bert? And Josh was like, yeah, you want to go to dinner? He was like, yeah, I'll come down. We'll all go to dinner. And then we all went to dinner. And Josh was like, I told you, man, you're overestimating how many people heard this story.
That's so great.
But I love hearing a good story. And I would argue like some of the best story, I think the best story ever told, in stand-up, in my opinion, easily without a doubt, is tater salad. It's the best story ever told.
Well, I'll tell you why that one's amazing is because that guy, he's the one that even people that are like, I hate those blue collar comedy guys. Oh no, I like Ron White though.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and I don't hate him. I'm not talking about myself.
Yeah.
You know, some listeners might think I am. I'm not. You know, but like, you know, he is one of those guys that's just like everyone likes Ron White.
Yeah.
Everyone. Because he's so, you know, his tales are just of being a fucking maniac.
Dude.
No matter who you are. And it's stupidest alias.
You'll hear people steal elements of that story to tell their stories.
Yeah. Yes.
I only told you that story to tell you this one. You're not allowed to do that.
No, that's
he
Ron's.
owns that. He owns
That's
that.
Ron's, yeah.
He owns that. That says you can't. I only told you this story to tell you. Trust me. I've wanted to do that. I only told you that story to tell you this one.
Yeah.
I've wanted to do it too, dude. It's the greatest story ever. And I got to be honest with you. I know you're never changing that man's mind, but I'd pay an extra $10 per ticket if he said I'll tell that story on that stage.
Yeah.
If he was like, hey guys, I'm doing 4 shows.
Yeah.
Saturday late show is going to be $20 extra, and I'm closing with tater salad. I would have been like, okay.
People would go.
Dude, he's the best.
I mean, it's so, you know how Brian Regan will do a show and they'll be like, did I miss anything? And
Yeah.
people will call out Pop-Tarts and he'll do it. Like he'll still do it. And I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can still do those stories. I'll forget beats.
I do.
You know?
I do. Here's what I'd suggest, in my opinion.
Okay.
Here's what I'm doing.
And side note, I did a Ball State,
Yeah.
and they put me in the big room, the fucking whatever, how many thousands, and I filled maybe a quarter of it. Maybe I'm like, why am I in this room? Hey, and this is like 5 years ago, but I was like, heard Regan was doing that, and I was like, and I had a great hour and change, and I was like, hey, if there's any jokes I missed, go ahead and call them out. Nothing, because no one knew who I was.
Yeah,
so it's like if you're going to do that, you got to pick your room. But anyway,
go ahead. This is
Sorry.
what I'm doing, and I think I will just say I think it works for guys like me and you.
Okay,
is you just do a 2-person show, and you have someone do 15 minutes,
right,
and then you do your hour, and almost encore-esque. Do your best of to close out the show.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, for me, I do an hour. I do 55 to it. Right now, it can be exact. I'm doing 52 new minutes of material. That's exactly all I've got.
Dude, your special just came out. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, but I'm struggling writing new material. Like,
sure.
I've got 52 new minutes that I think is good, but there's only like 35 minutes which I'm like really proud of, and then the rest is like trying to untangle a necklace. Like I'm but then I do the end. I tell the machine story. I tell flying dildos. I tell whatever stories they want to hear, because I do understand that you've brought friends here that haven't heard those
that's
stories.
Nice.
I said it to Chris Porter. Chris Porter, the next day we were in his hotel room. The next day we're in Omaha. The next day he's on stage and he's just fucking around and he's like, they're dropping the checks. I was hanging out with Bert last night. Is there any stories any jokes you guys would like to hear? And immediately everyone was like, Taco Bell. And he's like, excuse me? And he's like, Taco Bell. And he was like, I don't really remember how that goes. And he tried to work his way through it. I'm telling you, man, his check spot was silent. No one was saying a word.
Wow.
They were dying laughing.
That's great.
Like no one was talking. Everyone's like, oh, dialed in.
That's great.
I think there's room for it. Guys like me and you. Now, if you're Bill Burr, if you're Segura, if you're doing your 5th hour,
right,
you've got so much fucking material.
Yeah, totally.
But when you've had like a couple 3 hours for, like us,
yeah,
I think we're still there where we're building audiences.
Yo, I definitely am.
No, wait. How did you get? What time do you need to be out of here?
No, let's see. It's 11. I'm good.
Okay. All right. Good. I just want to make sure.
Thanks.
So wait, how did you? Because I always find like from where I started in stand up
Yeah.
to where I am
Yeah.
is so globally different. And I know you started
Completely.
in Chicago, and I imagine that what was killing at that time was either like TJ, which was all over the map,
Right.
you know, like real improv all over the place, or like Kanane, who was like da da da, you know, like it's and I always wonder, and I say this personally, where I would have fit in that scene, because I always felt like it was bar gigs. By the way,
It was all bar gigs, at least for us.
Yeah.
At least for the people I started out with. Like,
who was your scene?
it was Kyle, Pete Holmes, Camille Nanjiani, Hannibal, Burris, and then there was like Emily DeRizes, and I don't think you know, but John Roy, Mick Betancourt. Mick Betancourt now writes like our
I know
dramas.
Mick Betancourt.
Okay, and so I did improv, and then I got kicked off my improv team because you take levels 1 through 5. They added a level 6, and they're like, it's mandatory. I'm like, I'm broke. So
By the way, that would have only been better if you were like, I got kicked off my improv team because you take levels 1 through 5, and then they went to level 6, and then I raped a girl, and we were like, you're out.
casually.
You're out. Yeah,
Can we not talk about it, Bert? So anyway, my belief. Oh, he's a douchebag and a rapist. No, and the thing is, it's like this guy tried to write an article. He didn't try. He wrote an article about like that scene back then, and it was like, it was good, but it's hard to even, because it was just, we would just go to these certain bars that had, specifically we go to this place called Lion's Den. It was an open mic. It was on Monday nights. You'd sign up. It'd be like 30 men and women, and it'd be, one night George Carlin dropped in. Sometimes a Japanese guy would show up and eat VHS tapes. You didn't know what was going to happen. But it was just mostly people doing stand up, and like Dwayne Kennedy was
Dwayne
like,
very well.
he was like our Elvis. He was like our end all be all.
Wait,
no one's
Dwayne
better
Kennedy,
than Dwayne.
I'm thinking of Dwayne Perkins.
No, not Dwayne Kennedy is a older dreadlocked black comedian.
I think I know Dwayne Kennedy too.
He's written on a ton of shows, but
I know Dwayne Kennedy.
He's always been kind of like, lackadaisical about his career in terms of
Dwayne
stand-up.
Kennedy. I know Dwayne Kennedy. Did he write on the? He wrote on a show that I did.
He wrote on Kamau's show, Totally Biased. He wrote on.
I know Dwayne Kennedy.
Yeah, he's always on something, but he's one of those guys that just casually says the funniest shit you've ever heard in your life. And so we would all kind of just go to Lion's Den, sign up, and we always try to do a new 5 minutes every week, and or most of us, and then we just do shows on the side. The only person who was actually doing clubs was John Roy, because he had a car and no one else had a car, and so we didn't even try to reach out, and so we just kind of.
I know John Roy too.
Yeah, John's a killer.
Yeah,
and we just tried to. Without even realizing it, we were developing our own voices. Like, Kyle was in punk bands before Kyle had a beard and all this shit, and had like.
Don't even get me started on Kyle.
Yeah,
Kyle. I thought I knew Kyle. And then I met Kyle's friends.
Yeah,
and I went, oh my God! Like it made him so authentic to me.
Yeah.
Like, I always thought I knew Kyle, and I was like, I get it. But then I met Kyle's friends. First of all, very diverse, very eclectic. Yes. Very real. And I went, I was like, whoa.
Yeah. And because Kyle's always been one of those guys, he comes off as like a gruff, I always say he's like, the tiniest lighthouse operator, but he he comes out of this as this gruff, angry guy. He's like so sensitive and such a smart dude.
Sweet
he always
guy.
puts himself down as like, well, I'm a dummy. I'm like, nope, that's disingenuous, man. You're very smart. But I'm like, when you say people were how they were back then and back now, I was definitely telling stories back then. They weren't as true as now. I embellished a lot more. Kyle had, since he was in a band.
That's the same as me. I was always telling stories, but I'd embellish so big.
Sure.
Because I thought that's what people wanted to hear.
When I also would describe, one of my earliest jokes was about I saw a house that was said for sale, no pets. And I was like, for sale? If I buy that, I'm filling it with monkeys. And I just had a thing about it's my monkey house. And I want the ex-owner to come back, and monkeys are shitting and fucking
for
everywhere.
sale, no pets? You can't tell me what the fuck to
Exactly.
do.
Yeah, so it was a big...
For sale, no pets?
Yeah. So it was like a story about what would have happened. But Kyle dated this like really hot girl who liked him because he was in a punk band, and she dumped him, and he had a bit about he's like I tried to be punk rock, baby. I got drunk for breakfast. And that's a Kyle joke right there.
My favorite Kyle joke, by the way, one of my favorite Kyle jokes ever is I'm gonna fuck it up. I'm sure you know it. I was brushing my teeth the other morning and I threw up.
Yeah.
I was wondering, does that count?
That's great.
Yeah.
But we didn't really know about anything when they started the Chicago Comedy Festival. That was like, oh my God. Like, I will still never top. The biggest thing I've still done, I'm looking at your I have mine too, is when you're on did Letterman.
Yeah.
That's still the biggest thing I've done.
Yeah.
Probably ever will do. That was the biggest thrill. But I love how it's like, great job. Here's the stage door. And you're out in an alley by yourself. And it's all over. Hey, did that happen?
Yeah. We're making this awesome.
That's New York. You know what I mean? You made them laugh, kid. Now fuck off.
Are there any beers in my? I'm not allowed back in my green room.
Hey, can I get back in there?
Yeah.
But when I got the call that I was in the Chicago Comedy Festival, I was like, oh my God, like I felt made. And I still have that the brochure or whatever for that, the booklet, and it's me, it's Kyle, it's like Stanhope, it's Nick Swardson. It was just these people that I looked up to so much. And it was just that feeling of belonging. But like, but at the same time, anytime someone would come around and be like, oh, that person's a booker from blah, 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 you lose your mind. And if you didn't do well, you'd want to kill yourself, which I always tell people, you know, like I get people on the podcast calling in for like career advice. I'm just like, just don't lose your mind over anything, good or bad, you know, celebrate or be sad. But this is not the beginning or the end of your life. When I came to LA and I got smacked around like everyone does for a couple years, it was the best thing that ever happened to me because I kind of left Chicago. Like Cameron Esposito was just like, she's like, you know, all I heard about was you when I started stand up. Everyone was always talking about fucking you and Kyle to the point where I got like tired of you guys.
She started
I'd never seen
after you guys.
After,
right?
yeah, she's younger, you know, but it was one of those things where it's like, I remember it really hurt when I wasn't doing well in LA and Kyle was like, man, but back in Chicago, man, you were the guy. And I'm like, fucking don't say that, you know? But it's humbling and it's good where I always tell people, maybe don't go straight to LA. Maybe don't go straight to New York. Maybe get your chops in Denver or Chicago or Portland or St. Louis,
but
whatever.
What was it about Chicago?
Because
I want Malcolm Gladwell to figure out why, because that might be the biggest freshman class,
right? Yeah,
that might be the biggest freshman class I've ever heard of. I'm not out of New York, LA, anywhere in the country.
Moshe said that about like his San Francisco crew. He's like, shit, we're always like, you know, what are Chicago guys, huh?
Dude,
fuckers.
My New York crew was me, Dimitri, my freshman class, me, Dimitri. I think that's it. Eddie F, maybe.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, you could argue Big J and Kurt and Kevin, but they're kind of Philly. They're Philly, really, if you want to talk about it. They'd say their class was Philly.
Yeah.
Like, it was me and Dimitri, Eddie F. That's it, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe, I guess you could argue Ed Helms, but not really.
Well, the thing I always say, it's just to give people a broad idea of it, is I always say Bill Murray and by extension the Murray brothers. And if you ever heard any stories about them, it's all true. Basically, when I was in improv class, I studied under Del Close before he died. And Del Close was like the father of modern improv and also a massive drug addict and a sexist dude. And, you know, he's an old man, put it that way, stuck in his ways. I mean, Jesus Christ, the guy he's in a Lenny Bruce joke by name. It's like, fucking, how old are you? But he taught like Bill Murray. And to me, Bill Murray was the personification, and mostly even the perception of Bill Murray, personification of Chicago comedy, because he's so funny and so smart.
Yeah.
You can go in Chicago bars and discuss literature. You can talk physics. Like, people are really smart there that you would never expect. And that's why I think Kyle is like that.
That's
but
interesting.
There's a sensitivity, and he would beat your ass. All the Murray brothers were famous for always getting in bar fights. And they probably got in bar fights over like Dostoevsky. Who the fuck knew? You know? But it was that thing of being comedy at its best is in the moment. And I feel like, you know, I don't know anything about Bill Murray, but I know that guy's always in the moment. That guy's always in the pocket. And
that's really fascinating.
That's how we kind of all were. And it's like I remember hearing someone was telling me about Hannibal. It was just like, yeah, he's this really weird black comic. He has a joke about he wishes he had a silver arm. And I was like, bring me to him, you know, like, and I went to see him and I'm just like, who is this weirdo? And he was one of those guys who that I was like, this guy is going to be bigger than any of us. And I know it in my heart. And look at him now.
Dude.
Where I'm just like, because he's not only funny, there's no one like him. Nobody. You know, and I mean, we were all mostly men, but we were all very unique, and we get into arguments
Very different
all
acts.
the time.
Very, very
all
different
the
acts.
time about not just necessarily about like what comedy is, because people kind of describe us as alt, and there was an alt scene. There was a show that Matt Dwyer ran called Midnight Bible School at Second City. It was the only stand-up show in alt, quote unquote, or actually only stand-up show in Second City ever. And at the time,
By the way, I'm saying Matt Dwyer. I think I know Bill Dwyer.
okay, well, shit, different guys. But you know, Matt Dwyer was
Googling.
like mostly an improv guy.
I'm
but
Googling Matt right now.
he got into like stand up and stuff, and that show was definitely alt. But we weren't really alt. We were all people that grew up like loving, like you know, Mitch Hedberg and and like that was Kyle's like.
Mitch
thing.
wasn't alt. I guess he was technically.
He's just like a weird
He was
dude.
That was what comedy was. It was all different.
Would you ever have an alt comedian say what Mitch said, which is, if I could just tour the South the rest of my life, I'd be happy? I mean, that's all he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Because he would blow up those rooms so big because he was just kind of like your wise burnout weirdo. And we all loved Carlin. We all loved like Lily Tomlin.
Well, I think that's
you know,
comedy at its best is a when you see a scene of too many guys doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It's like we get it.
Yeah.
I think New York was a lot of that. To be dead honest with you, when I started in New York, there was a lot of guys of doing dead hooker jokes. Like
Yeah.
that was the go-to Puerto Rican dead hooker, black
Right.
guy. Like
Sure.
And so I think I remember going like, you don't have to do what New York does. You can do something a little different.
and New York wants you to do something different.
LA, I don't know if it was like this, but when you came out to LA, there was everyone doing Dane ripoffs.
Oh my God.
And it was
Do you
like
remember? Because it was also one of those things where I feel like the more you enable certain people, it's not necessarily their fault.
Yeah.
Because there were a huge crop. It's like you broke the lock on a attractive man cage and they all got out. Because everybody's manager and agent were talking to their like young, good looking actors, and they're like, I can't get you anything right now. You want to try stand up? People are getting discovered out of stand up.
Dude.
And so you had guys that were like CrossFit guys wearing friggin' bedazzled fucking, you know, True Religion jeans and shit with like, you know, just enough stubble and shit. And like they looked like like a bad Dane clone.
There's a guy that was so good looking. I still think about him today, and I wonder what he's doing. I don't know his name.
What happened to that
He had
dazzling
such
unicorn?
Beautiful fucking hair.
Yeah.
And he got up everywhere because he was so good looking.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I always think, what happened to that guy?
But what is he complaining about? Like he jizzes too much?
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't
Where's
see
his
what
struggle?
Where's his
Where's his struggle is, if he had gotten up on stage, he's like, I know what you're thinking. I am fucking gorgeous.
Yes.
Like, all you guys wonder what my days are like.
Right.
I'll tell you. And he was like, I go to spin class first thing in the morning. Like that you're so fucking right.
Yeah.
And that was what made that your scene. I mean, I think your scene, and I'm not even joking. Top 5 scenes in the world ever. You ready? Let's go.
Okay.
Let's do this.
All right.
Obviously, number 1 is going to be Houston.
Yes.
Houston.
Oh my God.
With
right.
Sam Kinison, Bill Hicks.
Yeah.
Carl LeBove.
Ralphie.
Ralphie came out of there. Stanhope kind of came out of there,
Yeah.
right? No, Stanhope. I guess Stanhope was more. I don't know where Stanhope's. I guess LA, but I always got Stanhope out of there.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. But I think he was there for a while. Rouse was out of there.
Yeah.
Bob Biggerstaff.
Yeah.
And so that's probably. That's one of the scenes.
Yeah.
Another scene is got to be San Francisco.
Yeah.
Patton, Hussein,
Blanca
Patch. By the way, in Houston, I left out the brothers, one of which died from cancer. That wrote on SNL. But they're like,
Ugh. Yeah, I'm blanking myself.
but I apologize.
But them.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, so you got San Francisco is going to be a big scene.
Wasn't Maria out of San Francisco?
San Francisco, yeah, Maria, Marin.
Yep.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay. Okay. Boston. Okay. So these are the big
Boston. I mean,
scenes. If we're
I
gonna
feel
go,
like San Francisco and Boston are tough to beat.
Boston's okay. Boston might be number 1.
Boston might be number 1.
Boston might be number 1.
Yeah.
You know, LA and New York are separated because you don't. They're Everyone,
and also these are we're also going for like if you want to go like all time,
all time.
That's crazy because like you got like Bernie Mac out of Chicago and like
okay, hold on. That's where you guys win. That's where Chicago is going to take the lead because when it comes to black comics, if you talk comedy, more diverse comedy probably came out of
and it's ironic because Chicago to me is the most segregated northern city. Without a doubt.
Easily.
Without a doubt. I mean, Dwayne Kennedy had a bit about that. He's like, Chicago, come for the food, stay for the segregation.
Dude, I used to do riddles. Do you remember riddles?
Yeah, sure.
I used to do riddles. That's where I met Hannibal.
Wow.
He opened for me at riddles.
That's amazing.
And I'm telling you, and I know everyone's got their own history, but I will tell you, he ate a dick in front of black people.
Sure.
Black people did not get him that weekend. I don't know about in life. I know they love him now, but that weekend.
It took him a minute, yeah.
And I went up pandering as fuck.
Of course, I would have too.
I'm fucking dancing and fucking. I was a horrible.
Yeah. Well,
but so the scenes.
What?
Houston, Boston, Chicago, San Fran. And what was the other one we said?
In New York is what you said.
No. You can't do New York.
You can't do New York.
New York and LA.
We have to leave those off. You're right. What am I thinking?
Because everyone ends up going there.
Of course.
Houston, Chicago, San Fran, Boston. There's got to be one. I mean, Denver's got a pretty hot scene.
Denver now is amazing.
Yeah. Denver's got a pretty hot scene. I remember this guy in Richmond, Virginia is like, I think you're underestimating how big our scene is. I was like, your scene sucks. I was like, I've seen all the scenes.
Yeah.
Your scene fucking sucks.
You're comparable. I mean, it's but everywhere I go, there's some big like Atlanta. Atlanta has so much good comedy right now.
DC had a pretty hot scene with Mulaney, Birbiglia, Chappelle, Tony Woods,
Jesus.
Donnell, Red Grant.
Wow.
Like, DC had a fucking hot scene.
Yeah, for sure.
Tampa scene sucked. Miami was like mediocre as fuck. Miami was always just comics with bad habits.
Yeah.
Because it was such a hard club.
City of bad habits.
It was such a, like you had to go out of Miami and go relearn comedy and be like, oh wait, I don't have to be defensive as fuck. Yeah. By the way, I'm breaking balls if you're, I have to say this now.
Yeah, everyone has to take, I'm sure there are people screaming comedians' names at us right now and it's like.
This is a great online game we're going to play.
That is a good game.
Okay? We're going to pick, we're going to start it. Okay? I'm gonna tell my social media. Let's take this from the top so we get a clean cut.
Yeah.
This is Bert Kreischer and Matt Braunger. This is for my Instagram. Top 5 scenes. Rank them. Okay.
Rank them.
Boston, Chicago, San Francisco, Texas. Do we say Texas or Houston?
I think we got to go city. So we got to Houston because if you say Texas, you also got Austin. You also
Houston, and then what's our last one? DC. Rank them. Top 5 comedy scenes. And rank them and explain why.
Yes.
Put it on my social media. We'll retweet it. Top 5 comedy scenes.
Yeah.
Rank them and defend why. Mm-hmm. I'll have my social media people grab this.
No, that's fantastic.
You had a great fucking scene.
I did, and we weren't even. Well, it's like I don't know if anyone was aware of it.
You had a jealous scene, like a scene where I was jealous I wasn't a part of it.
But
when all you guys showed up,
I never.
And I was like, wow, this guy's funny. I said, who's this? They're like, oh, it's TJ Miller. And I was like, God damn, he's fucking great. Oh wait, who's the guy that followed him? Oh, that's Pete. Oh, how do they know each other? Oh, they started in Chicago. For real?
Yeah.
They started with Kyle Kinane. Wait, the guy with the beard? Oh yeah, Matt Braunger. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you should have seen. Kumail came out of there and you're like, they had an Indian guy.
Yeah.
By the way, I know you're not Indian Kumail, but like
Pakistani. But
Pakistani.
I mean, it's funny you say that though because Kumail had great jokes before he could even speak the language that well. And it made you say you were jealous. I was like, fuck you, man. Like he would go on stage and just say his thoughts and they would crush. Where he just talked about he grew up, in a town where there was no vegetation. And so now he looks at a tree and there's no symmetry and it drives him crazy. Where he's like, that doesn't make sense with the two sides. And like he had a bit about the masturbation Rolodex, I think before Ray Romano had, yep, you're in it.
Yeah.
He didn't know, I don't know who said it first, but he was like, I'm going to butcher the accent, but he was like, and she walks away, but it's too late. You're already in the Batman outfit. I mean, Catwoman. I mean, cat, it's like.
He's great.
Yeah.
He's a very, I'm happy for everyone's success. You know, like I'm not jealous of anyone.
Yeah.
But there are people you get super happy for their success.
Yeah.
Where you go like,
Yeah.
yes, like like one of the good ones got through.
Well, it's. I mean, how awesome is it that like we know Oscar nominees who are comedians?
How fucking bizarre is that?
Yeah. I mean, I mean, Jordan Peele. Jesus Christ. Like, I could not be happier for him. And oddly not jealous in the least, even though I'm the biggest horror fan.
Yeah.
Because because I just never knew. When I heard he was writing a horror movie, I was like, oh man, I hope that works out. I hope this is something I hear of again.
Yeah.
Won an Oscar, you know?
Yeah.
And it's so rad. Now he's doing the new Twilight Zones. It's like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
So excited.
I love that creative people are being allowed to be creative.
Yeah.
Like, I love that it's, you know, so much of this. This is gonna sound shitty. What I'm about to say.
Okay.
I'm just. By the way,
Trigger warning.
By the way, you
Trigger
should
warning.
know this. Everyone that listens to this podcast,
Yeah.
they're not shitty people.
No, I don't think they are.
They don't. No, but I mean, like, no. I'm prefacing this so that
Okay.
you feel it's safe.
I'm being defensive,
Like,
sorry.
Like people that listen, they don't call us out. They don't.
Okay.
They don't go, hey man, he talks shit about you on Bertcast.
Right.
Because if they do, I block them immediately.
Yeah.
And then it's no fun to interact with the podcast.
Totally.
And I just go, hey man, don't fucking come here if you're gonna be that fucking person.
Yeah.
And I've said some horrific things on this podcast.
Sure.
This is gonna sound shitty, and I don't mean it to be shitty.
Okay.
But the freedom that the internet is allowing people, and the freedom the freedom that we're getting, the way that Joe is now taken whatever he wants to do and made it his own way. Rogan.
Yes, of course.
And the way that you see places like H3 Podcast and Segura doing Your Mom's House.
Right.
And the way that Segura has a voice the way he wants to have a voice.
Right.
Don't you almost feel bad for someone like, and I'm using this is why I'm nervous to say this,
Okay.
but like Sarah Silverman, who so many times got put into the corporate cycle of like
Yes.
development deal,
Right.
kind of development deal, as opposed to making things.
Yes.
And then she made a lot of things. She made a lot of great things.
Totally.
But like her time was spent, you know, being in something about Mary, or,
Right.
or like, wouldn't it have been cool if Sarah had just been able to create day one. No,
Right.
And not. By the way, I don't mean this shitty, but like
No.
not spend time on SNL.
I don't think
wasting
that's
her
shitty.
time.
I don't think that's shit at all. I think what you're talking about is cutting the middleman out.
Yeah,
which
like-
definitely Rogan has done. I think the only
And then you look at Jordan Peele and you go,
Yeah.
he's found a way, like
with his Monkey Paw production
to
house.
really kind of circumnavigate, almost like notes. Like I can't imagine
In a way, yeah.
anyone would allow him to make a horror movie. You know, like he just found a way to circumnavigate notes and go, hey guys, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And now things are happening so that if Jordan Peele, and I would argue, I don't know if Jordan Peele would have been given any opportunity 20 years ago.
Sure.
The way Hollywood set up.
Right.
And they would have told him what they wanted him to do.
Right.
But now he gets to make what he wants to do, and then such cool shit's coming out.
Yeah.
I wish that for my heroes, like, and I say heroes, I should say some guys in here, but like the people I would love more of would have been Janine Garofalo.
Yeah.
Sarah. I'm obsessed with Janine Garofalo.
Oh, she's so great.
Dude,
She's so
like
funny.
massive crush on her. I'm hoping that she goes into financial ruin,
Okay.
so that I can take her on tour with me.
What a lovely thought.
I would want someone to go like, oh my God, her banker took all her money.
God, you guys should co-headline and blow everyone's fucking minds because no one would expect it.
I would love.
What we're talking about in terms of like bringing people together, that would do it, man.
I would love to bring in and go, and because I think she's so underrated.
Yeah.
We did a CISO show together, and she would say she didn't do very well. By the way, I wish I could.
She like hates herself, and it you know, she would come to Portland, and like people would just be worshiping her, and she's still just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, she has a bit now where someone's like, how old are you? And she's like, 21. She's like, hold on. And she's like, gets him on stage, and she's like, I want to talk to someone who wasn't born until I got sober. Hold on. You know, and it's this thing where it's so funny that she kind of bridges the gap there, which is great.
She did a bit about I don't know what the thing was. I don't even know where she was going with it. But what it turned into was her dissecting Alexander Burr. Who's Burr? Who was our president?
You mean Aaron Burr?
Aaron Burr,
who shot Hamilton.
I went through and analyzed Aaron Burr.
Yeah.
And his life.
Nice.
Like, and it was just like...
Yeah, and he was like a savage. He was like a pirate.
Such a fucking...
That's so funny.
And I was sitting there, but like, this is where you'd go back and I'd argue post-comedy doesn't, like, where the post-comedy is great, because I don't know what she was doing, but I was so entertained. I was so engaged.
Yeah.
And anytime I was so set up, I was so primed. Meaning, anytime she did throw in a joke, I lost my fucking shit.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm watching a type. It's like it's almost like Brody. No, I don't mean this as disrespect to Brody.
No, exactly.
Like when Brody will fucking.
Brody does what Brody wants to do.
When he holds attention, and then a little joke. You are fucking amazed.
Yeah. Yeah. What was this? I was in the Iraq War on the other side.
Yeah.
Just throws that in. Like, what? Jesus.
Dude,
because he's so ethnically ambiguous. It's so great.
But I don't know I don't know how we got on this. I don't know what we were talking about before this.
What was this? It was a segue into Janine.
We were talking about Kumail.
I lost it too.
We were talking about
when people,
Oscars, about
people we want to see more of it. And choosing to go your own road and build your own business. The point that I was going to make about that is the hard thing with that is sometimes you have to give all of yourself. I think Joe has given all of himself, and I think he wants to. And I think that's what he wants to do, where he just wants to be Joe Rogan. He doesn't want to play John Rogan in the Joe Rogan movie.
No,
you know what I mean?
And
I feel like Sarah Silverman has wanted to play other characters. And I feel like if she did the full court press that say Joe did, she might not be getting cast in anything.
Yeah,
but you're right. Here's the thing. More to your point, which I definitely agree with, you give up so much control. And it's like Kyle and I had that discussion when I had him on Advice from Dipshit. He was saying how we were joking, like someone was like, hey, because Amanda will just pick calls, for us to listen to, messages, and...
Whoa, hey, why do you have a hatchet? Isla, why do you have a hatchet?
His daughter's walking by the window with it. She has an axe.
Hold on 1 second.
She's going to kill a chicken.
Hey, why do you have a hatchet in your hand?
Are we stopping?
What wood?
Oh, God.
Okay, okay.
Oh, it's still in its sheath. It's still, but that's...
That fucking made me panic.
You
so
said
bad.
that, and they're headed toward the chicken coop.
Yeah,
I was like, what am I going to see?
With a hatchet, and I'm like, oh my God.
I didn't expect this at all.
She beheads a fucking... She would never behead a chicken because they're her chickens.
Sure, of course.
But I was like, what?
She just turned totally Darwin right in that moment.
Wow, that fucking scared the fuck out of me.
That scared... I mean, your reaction made me go, oh, what am I about to see? This is horrifying.
I think if Sarah was given an opportunity to create more...
Right.
Meaning just simply create more. Mm-hmm. If someone came to her, I think that's where... And then I put it back on you. Like, you're someone who came up independently.
But real quick, to finish my point, someone called in and left a message. And was
about
like,
Kyle, I'm sorry.
It just said it'll take 5 seconds. Literally was like, why can't I see you guys tour together? Can I see you guys do a show in my town? And we were like, reach out to our reps. Let's make it happen, because we'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll do it. We'll split it. I'll give him more. He's more of a draw than I am. Definitely. And Kyle's like, wait a minute, I'm more a draw than you? I'm like, yeah. He's like, then I won. I'm like, you fucking won. But the way he, it's not that it's competition, but he stayed on the road where I would take chunks out to be in LA to audition, to pitch, all that stuff. And it's done okay for me, but I probably would have been better if I did the road like Segura, like you, like Kyle,
Well, I would argue yes and no. I mean, I think I know that I've always been a road guy.
Yeah.
And then when I did give my time to Travel Channel, I was still on the road.
Yeah.
So I never got to live in LA, which I would have loved.
Yeah.
Had I gotten the taste of living LA, I don't know if I'd be able to go back on the road.
Do you remember seeing me in the airport in Salt Lake City? Like, you weren't drunk, don't worry. I'm not trying to call you out on some blackout moment. No, you were still shaking from having to jump off the stratosphere in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh God, Bert. And I was like, I feel like Bert needs a hug right now or something.
Yeah.
But I didn't know you well enough. But I remember you're like, hey man, and I'm like, hey Bert, how you doing? I just jumped off the stratosphere. I'm still fucked up. I'm like, when was this? You're like, oh, it was like 2 days ago. I'm still, man. Oh God,
dude.
And you were like, where are you headed? I'm like, oh, I'm going to play Wise Guys. You're like, if I could live in Salt Lake City, so beautiful. Just take my family, just live in Salt Lake. Oh, that sounds like you went to another place.
I still go there all the fucking time.
It's so beautiful. I love it.
I love Utah.
Yeah.
So wait, so you got into the, like, cool scene, come to LA, start booking stuff.
Kind of. It takes years.
But start booking. I mean, by the way, when I say start booking stuff, I don't think I've ever booked anything. Like, I feel like I've never booked anything.
Right.
Like, trust me. Like,
well, look, Kyle and I moved here together. We had an apartment. We tried to do stand-up every chance we get. We're hedonistic maniacs, drunks, all that stuff. But like, we kind of started, we just did it. We'd do it wherever. We'd do a set at the Improv, do a set at UCB, whatever. Yeah. We started kind of getting known a little bit more from the alt stuff. But like, I'll put it this way. We moved to LA in 2003. I didn't get anything until 2007. I had a job up until 2008. I quit my job when I got Letterman, and stopped doing. I was doing commercials.
Yeah.
But I was always working full time. Kyle and I, we even had our last jobs, real jobs together. We were both closed captioners for the hearing impaired at a company in Burbank, where they would give us shows and we'd watch them and just not real time. Yeah, those people are they're like human robots. They're insane. But we would kind of like, oh, here's the new episode of The Office or Biggest Loser or whatever, and we'd caption them out and all that jazz. And that job, a company called Caption Max, I'm forever grateful because they would let me leave for auditions or leave for the road. I just had to make up the time later. So you'd work on weekends or whatever,
Oh, wow, that's actually great.
It was incredible. It was one of those
great
perfect LA or New York jobs. And yeah, I'm forever grateful. But yeah, it's like this year is the 10-year anniversary of me not having a job.
Really?
Yeah.
So when did what was the first big thing you booked where you're like,
definitely it was the 1-2 Punch 2008. Well, you know what it was? It was Just for Laughs when I was a New Face.
Oh, really?
Was that's what broke me up when I went to the Montreal and did the owl joke.
Yeah.
That's what kind of started me getting booked in clubs.
Yeah.
As a feature and a headliner.
Yeah.
But the first big job I got was 2008. I got Mad TV and I got Letterman. It was like a 1-2 punch. I was in the cast of Mad TV, and then I got Letterman, and then when I was done, right around when I was getting ready for my Letterman thing, Mad TV got canceled. So I was on it for literally half a season, and it's still probably my biggest credit. I mean, I've been on sitcoms and shit that people don't remember necessarily, but everyone knows what Mad TV is.
Mad TV is the big.
It was a monolith, for sure.
When I got Letterman, the day before I got Letterman, my Travel Channel show got canceled.
Amazing.
The day before I was doing Letterman.
And was that your first? What was your first big one?
Oh, my first big one was probably the X show.
Okay. Was that Hurt Bert?
No, Hurt Bert was after the X show.
Okay.
My first big one, I got a development deal with Will Smith. 6 months into doing comedy.
Oh my God.
And then I got a development deal with CBS the very following year. And so a year and 6 months, I got my first TV show.
Oh, wow.
And that was the X show that ran for a year. And then that got canceled. I did a pilot for CBS, and then Hurt Bert got picked up.
Okay.
And that was based off of, I had sold a different show, and they were going in to pitch it to Kevin Riley, who was at FX at the time. And he was like, I'll just do the Hurt Bert show. And we were like, great. And so we did 6 episodes of that. And then I did pilots. Like I did pilots for like, but this is so, and this is, I think, going back to where we're talking about, but like a camera came out. It was called the Canon XLR1, I think.
Okay.
I think there was a GL2 and an XLR1.
Yeah.
These two cameras came out. And they revolutionized the business.
Okay.
You could shoot on DV tape.
Yes.
Smaller tape. You didn't need the big camera. And I bought the GL2. I think that's the name of it. I bought the GL2 that was $1,200, but the XLR1 was like $3,500, $3,000. But compared to what a camera cost, it was nothing. And these DV tapes were cheap.
Yes.
So all of a sudden, you could make pilots for nothing.
Yeah.
And it looked the same.
And it's all about the visual quality and the mood.
Yeah.
You know? Like if you can make something that feels like a television show, it's basically a television show.
I'm gonna fuck this up. I wonder if I can get someone who knows about this camera on the phone to explain it. I wonder if Scott Sands knows it. It's not worth it. Oh, fucking sorry, guys.
I mean, you've given the listener the general idea.
Yeah, and so it made the possibility to start a production company. All you needed now was an Avid, a GL2 or an XLR1, and all of a sudden you could sell a show a lot quicker.
Yeah.
You could sell a show like Hurt Bert.
Yeah.
And go, what do you think production would be? And instead of it being $125,000 an episode,
yeah,
you could go, I think we can make a pilot for like 10 grand.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, what? And so I started, the pilot started being greenlit for like 50 grand. So you can make 5 pilots instead of just one pilot.
Wow.
And so I started getting booked. Because I had hosted, I started paying the bills by doing pilots I've done so many reality-based pilots that I could list them off and you go, shut the fuck up. I did one where we searched for the world's best dancing dog. I did one where we searched for the world's most unique llama. I did one where it was like Cribs, but a game show.
Okay.
I did so many fucking pilots. And then you get paid 10 grand for each.
Yeah.
And so I paid my bills like that from 2003 till 2007 when I got, or 2008 when I got Bert the Conqueror. Bert the Conqueror was probably the biggest thing I ever got, because then it was all of a sudden it was like 13 episodes. And then I got put into a deal at Travel Channel and did another show for 4 seasons. Then we did it, and I just did so many fucking shows for that. That was probably the biggest thing I got. But then, like you said, I looked at it and I looked at Segura's touring.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I made a mistake.
And you know what? He probably looks at you and goes, fuck, I should have done what Bert did. You know?
I don't know if he does.
I mean, to an extent, because it's like, look, as much as we're like, man, I should have stayed on the road. It's like, could I have without blowing my brains out or doing a ton of coke or whatever? You know, it's like
he's always done the road on his own thing. See, him and Push were cool being poor.
Oh yeah,
that was very different than me. Like I had a family; they were just poor.
Yeah.
Like one charger to a household poor.
Oh yeah,
like that's who they are.
Yeah,
in essence, I don't know them any other way.
And now, like I really like. I really like doing the degree of touring I'm doing, and I like being other places. If I could just not fly out of LAX, that's the only thing I'd change.
Yeah.
Everything else, the clubs I deal with are great. The theaters, the audiences are fun. I love going back to some of these towns, going to new towns.
How much touring are you doing?
I'll probably go out like twice a month or so on average. Sometimes it's a whole month.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's nothing for the month, but. Yeah.
No, what would you do? Because I would say, inarguably, you're probably one of the more talented actors, performers out of the group. And I'm not even joking. Like TJ's TJ's amazing.
I mean, I that's what I started out. I've been taking acting classes since I was a kid. So that's one of those things that like it's kind of. And I'm only a child, so I was always like, as George Carlin says, it's all about dig me. You know, if you're a class clown. And so like. I was always that anyway, and then it's like I naturally kind of got into stand-up, and they've kind of helped each other in a way, but it's like I really like when I see someone who's a really amazing actor, and I'm always just like, I mean, I know how to do it, but I don't know if I'm that.
I think you're better than you think. What was the sitcom you? I know you did This Is Us.
No, I was on Up All Night.
Up All Night.
Up All Night.
What was the other? Didn't you do Modern Family as well?
No, I was in Up All Night. I was on most recently. I was on Up All Night and Marvel's Agent Carter. So I was like a scientist.
Up All Night was the one with the Christina. They just had the kid.
Yes,
Christina
Applegate and Will Arnett. Yeah, which was one of those things that I felt in Maya Rudolph. I felt it was underpromoted because it was a perfect theme. It was about parents who wanted to still party, and I feel like that's everyone.
It was a great show.
It was fun.
I saw the pilot. There was another show up at the time. Fuck. There was another show on at the time that they had sent out something for.
Okay.
And I just caught it and I was like, I'll check it out. And I thought it was something else. And I ended up watching Up All Night.
Oh, really?
And I was like, by the way, I'm a huge Christina Applegate fan.
She's so cool.
Like, I'm a ride or die motherfucker with
I just
her.
did a benefit at her kid's school. And when I did the show, this kid was still a baby. And now it's like walking around. It's a person.
Yeah.
But like because one of the Sklar brothers his kid goes to the school and they do these. So I did a benefit, and you know, I'm just backstage. She before the show runs backstage. She's like, "Where's Braunger?" And like runs up and hugs me, and I was like, "Oh, hi!" Like it was so sweet.
Yeah,
because I mean, she's someone who's always been famous, always, like her whole life.
Oh yeah.
So it's like for her to kind of just still be like, like, oh, I'm so glad you're here. I just want to say hi before everything, like she's a sweetheart.
I like people like that.
Yeah.
I would say I'm
you.
one of those people, but I usually forget people's names.
We all do, man.
I'm horrible.
I wouldn't run backstage for somebody. There you are.
Hey. They're like, who are you? I'm like, I'm Bert.
Yeah, I'm Bert.
We work together? Yeah. Wait, I'm sorry.
But
are you Matt Dyer or Bill Dwyer?
But it's like, I feel like neither one of us, who knows, will ever be, but whatever. But like, if sometimes I'll do a show and it's like Colin Hanks is just backstage. If like Tom Hanks ran backstage and was like, Bert, hi. Wouldn't you feel anointed? You'd be like,
if Tom Hanks
I'd feel
knew
like
who I
kneeling
was.
as if to a king, like my liege. Like you put your sword on the ground.
Did you see The Rock tweeted out Sebastian's special?
No. Oh, fuck.
Bro.
Not that he needs that because he's killing it, but
Dude,
good for him.
He's just sold out the Greek last night.
He sold it out?
Sold out the Greek.
Fuck yeah.
Dude,
I love Sebastian, man.
Yeah, he's great.
I've loved watching that guy for so long. That guy's like a ballet dancer. He's so fun to watch. He's like an absurdist ballet dancer.
The Rock had him on his Instagram, and it just was video of his stand-up special. It was just him watching Sebastian.
Yeah.
And then him going, all he said was, this guy is the funniest guy in the world. If I can't go to sleep, I can't stop watching, and it's so funny.
Yep.
And I was like, by the way, Sebastian plays it so cool. He's like, my mom just said The Rock likes me. I made it. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
3.7 million views.
3.7 million.
He can't
views.
and he is one of those guys that can't really take a compliment. Really,
Well,
he can,
yeah.
but he's just incredibly humble. I think it's
He's just I think part of Sebastian's one of those his whole story about working over at the Four Seasons,
Yeah.
and driving over to do sets in his chef outfit or whatever.
selling TVs in a mall. Yeah, crazy.
He's a fascinating guy.
He
He's a
is.
Chicago guy.
Yeah, he
Started
is.
in LA. Mm-hmm. I think, by the way, good folklore story. Not sure if it's accurate. Started doing stand up because he was out here to be an actor, and he bumped into a comedian and he was like, "How come you're never getting up early for work?" And the guy goes, "Oh, I'm a comedian. I work at nights." Sebastian's like, "Tell me about that." Guy told him about it, and he's like, "Maybe I'll try it out." Guy's name, Bill Burr.
Amazing.
Yeah, they lived in the same apartment
I
building.
love that when people just discover their calling that way. Like, Bill Withers, "Ain't No Sunshine, Lean on Me."
Yeah.
The singer. He used to sell toilets in, oh God, I don't know, like Detroit or something.
Yeah.
And he was just in a bar, and a guy next to him was like, he's like talking about how he's a promoter, and he's like, Lou Rawls was late to his show, and I'm paying that motherfucker. And he said an amount. Bill Withers was like, well, I guess I'm a singer. And that's where he decided to be a singer, because he knew he'd just sing songs at home.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah, you make that kind of money singing? Screw toilets.
Can you imagine? By the way, I just went through Did you learn that after he died on the Grammys? It's like he died, and I went through and bought his entire catalog.
Wait, Lou Rawls?
No.
Because Bill Withers is alive, I think, still. Did Bill Withers die?
By the way, the only reason I say this is I bought every Bill Withers
Jesus.
album because
I didn't even know he died. He died?
Ready? Bill Withers. I think he died 2 years ago. No, it looks like he's still alive.
Yeah.
Nope. No, his wife died.
Oh.
Wait, hold on. Bill Withers, born. No, he's still alive. Wait, why did they do a Bill Withers thing on him? He wrote "Lean on Me," "Ain't No Sunshine," "Use Me,"
Yep.
"Just the Two of Us,"
Yep.
"Lovely Day," "Grandma's Hands."
Yep.
Dude, they did a thing on him. Oh, he was anointed into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2015.
Okay.
That's what I saw.
That's what it is.
And I went and I bought every Bill Withers album.
Yeah.
Because I was like,
He's
this
the best.
guy's a fucking amazing.
Yeah, he's the best.
Like,
Yeah.
if people on my thing, they're like, Bert Kreischer told the Machine story. They're not going to have 9 of them. Like, fucking 9 of them. Jesus Christ. I got to get to work.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like you have the podcast? What other content would you be interested in producing and making and distributing? Like, because I'm always fascinated by, like, say you get your compound, your Joe Rogan compound, right?
Yeah.
What do you make in that compound?
I would love to produce independent films to possibly be in, possibly not, to nurture up and coming writers and also get my stuff out there. I would love to have a non-scripted division, because I have plenty of ideas
Like,
there.
what would you do non-scripted?
Well, I have one right now that I'm taking out that's about what I do, basically what you do with your time on the road. And it wouldn't focus on my stand-up. It wouldn't focus on, it would have a little bit of element of what I do, which I always search out. I find the best coffee place. I find the place where everyone says to eat, and I go to those places and I just hang out and I talk to people and I find out about the town and what the town's going through. And on that, I do a little bit of Googling. There are volunteer searches you can find, and I'll go and I'll devote a couple hours during the day and just help out. And sometimes it's putting,
real?
sometimes it's putting boxes of diapers on a truck. I usually don't do this in LA, but I give platelets pretty regularly. I have a scheduled one tomorrow.
Oh, because meals to the homeless?
No, my blood. Basically, my blood to the homeless. I cut my arm open, put it right in a guy's mouth.
Is this thing on, guys?
It's fine. He has no teeth. He sucks all the blood out. Yeah, it's a thing that helps kids with cancer, and I have A positive blood, and that's the blood they need the most, generally speaking, from what I understand. Or that might just be what they tell me. But what they do is they put a needle in each of your arms, and you sit there in a bed or like a chair, and you watch a movie. You pick a movie and you basically because it takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours because they take some of your blood out, they spin out the white blood cells, and they put your blood back in. So the minus is it takes forever and you have a needle in each arm for that long. But the plus is you leave and you don't feel anywhere near as diminished as you do when you just straight up give a couple pints of blood.
Really?
You just give your white blood cells because that's kids with cancer, their bodies can't manufacture white blood cells anymore, and they just need constant transfusions to fight the disease because they're going through things like chemotherapy and other treatments, which are witheringly punishing on a human adult body, to say nothing of a child's.
Yeah.
So that's just something that I know I can do, that I kind of do. And really, the crux of the show, and this is how I've pitched it. I haven't started the pitching process yet. I'm still trying to attach certain studios or whatnot. But the one that people keep pushing back on is like, I only do this to make myself feel good. You know, I want to help people, but it's like, I feel like I am so fucking lucky to get to do what I love for a living. And it sounds schmaltzy, but like to know the people that I know, to be in this fraternity / sorority, whatever you want to call it, of people who are comedians. The fact that people go, hey, that guy's a comedian. Yeah. And you and me are undeniably comedians.
Oh,
and
it's my favorite thing I've ever earned in my life.
Yeah. And just to be able to have a house and a family and be able to pay my bills from that, it's just one of those things that I'm forever grateful for. So it's like, if I have this free time, I don't do it all the time. There's some weekends I'm like, fuck the world. I'm eating chili dogs.
It's Columbus.
And I'm getting drunk every night, you know? But there are those ones where I'm just like, I got some time. What do you guys do? What's the thing? You know? And it's funny you mention doing political things. It's really rarely political. It'll be like, you know, just helping, like I said, load a truck or, you know, helping coordinate something with a youth center or whatever. Kind of thing like that. But it's like it's a lot like if they were like, hey Bert, can you work on this movie for no pay? And you're like, I will give you 4 hours. The end. Like, it's a lot like that. I have a heart out.
Yeah.
I don't have a heart out. You need more boxes loaded? I could give a shit.
Yeah.
I have a show. Guys. Yeah. I have to get changed. I have to take a shower. You know, yeah.
I helped load a box or two.
Please.
I'm out, guys.
I'm exhausted.
I'm fucking
not
exhausted.
a real man. Yeah.
Here's $20. Can I just leave?
Yeah. So, I mean, that show
would be cool to watch you.
That show would be just because it's like anytime I go, I'll just like crack wise at these centers all the time.
Yeah.
It's fun. Just mess with them. And like, I'm always like, oh, this would be a good thing to get on camera. You know, to have that. And then, you know, have that element of Insomniac, David Tell, one of my probably top 5 favorite comedians of all time. Easily. And one of the best shows of all time. There's that element as the credits start rolling. I'm in a bar with all the volunteers because they came to the show. Yeah. You don't ever see the show, just like Insomniac, but like we're all hanging out, talking shit. Yeah. And like they get to get drunk, eat some chicken wings, whatever. Because they're doing the Lord's work, you know, as they say.
Fuck.
So that's my big one I want to take out pretty soon. And then other than that, I got the new special that's basically coming out like Gaffigan's did on everything.
Did you do it with Volkweiss?
I did. Yeah.
Oh, fuck. That's going to be huge.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm fascinated with what can you talk about with how that is being released? Because I know that Segura hit me up and was like,
it's guaranteed on a couple major streaming platforms, including Amazon.
Okay.
It won't be on Netflix. It won't be on any of the cable bigs that usually do specials. But there are like thousands of outlets that just people want to flip through and see stuff you don't think about, like airplanes or company-based stuff. Of course, Apple Music. Or it'll be on or Apple, all that jazz.
Well, the one thing I got to say is that Volkweiss has changed the game with how specials are made.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think.
Well, this one, I had an hour that was burning a hole in my dick. Like, you know how that is, where you're just like, enough. I got to dump this. It's like having to take a shit or, this baby. I've had this baby in me for 12 months. Enough.
And you're like, listen, I either get rid of the material and it dies,
right,
or we put it on a special because I've got my next hour is already burning a hole in my pocket.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the 10th anniversary of Bridgetown, I grabbed an ex-porn theater and I hired an entire crew and I shot the whole fucker myself and I paid for the editing and everything.
Really?
And I just brought it to them and they were like, and literally every network I brought it to went gaga, but they just didn't have any room, which I get.
Yeah.
But I took it to Comedy Dynamics and we partnered. So
not to trigger warn any alt-right listeners of mine, but because this will make you crazy. But there's not a lot of space for white guys.
Not unless you're massive. Unless you're incredibly popular, which I totally understand.
I do and I don't. I do, and I'll tell you why I don't.
Okay.
Only because I think what you got there is diverse, number one. I don't think you putting up a lot of similar specials is beneficial to anyone.
Sure.
Including the ones doing them. There might be a lot of white guys doing comedy. There are a lot of white guys doing comedy very similar. But there are some ones doing it very different. Mm-hmm. But just simply to say we can't put white guys on our network anymore. Yeah. But whatever service that may be. Yeah. It isn't technically representative of how comedy's done,
right?
Because there, proportionally, there just happens to be. I don't know why. It's like
and here. I'll give you an example.
I mean, look at the ones that started with you. Not one of you guys is similar.
Yes, no, it's absolutely true.
So you shouldn't be in competition with any of you just based on your skin color.
But the thing is, we tend to center on Netflix, obviously, because they are the big dog in town.
Well, I have no problem with Netflix.
No, they're the best. But here's the thing: I will say people shit on Netflix for that because people say they're doing that, and it's like, no, they're not a comedy company. Do you understand? No, they're not even a TV company. They're a technology, and they basically
stream around the world.
And so. When Kyle said this to me, he's like, he was like, I learned by talking, because we know people that work there. I know people that work on every level in Netflix, that work on the executive level, and put it this way, like a guy you've never heard of from Malaysia, they book him, he's funny, but they book him, they give him a special because they don't have inroads in Malaysia as much as they'd like. And he will forge that trail for them, kind of thing. And I feel like a lot of the trails have already been forged, but now they're basically, when they're going into 15-minute ones, half-an-hour ones, hopefully
what they're doing with the half-an-hour ones are fascinating.
I think it's great. I think it's awesome.
What is it? It's like 250 specials drop on one day.
Something.
It's fucking ridiculous. Like, by the way, but I think it's awesome. And I know D'Elia's doing it. Swartzen's doing it.
Yeah.
Neil.
Well, and I submitted for that half hour, and it was that thing where it was like, they were like, I was definitely on the list. I know the people that book over there.
Yeah.
But it was that thing where they just had the idea of like, oh, we're going to do the worldwide half hours. Look, if we have the Olympics of stand-up comedy, I'm not going to be on that basketball team. I'm not going to be Pippen. I'm not going to be anybody on that team.
Everyone on that
just
list
by popularity.
Is people who either deserve another hour or deserve their first hour without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah. So it's like I didn't see that list and go, fucking assholes.
And by the way, it's all people I think that will bring people to the platform.
For sure. Like, and that's what it comes down to, where people keep thinking those people are sitting up there looking at, white guy. No, they're looking at numbers, this numbers, that.
It's a very different algorithm.
And it'll come back around. It's like, like you mentioned like a bro. Like, to me, Tim Dillon is so much like a bro. But the fact that he's gay, gets him a little bit into that diversification thing. But dude, if that guy was gay or not, he's fucking hilarious. So it's like it's people that argue that it's just like, oh, they just don't like white guys. It's like, I mean, no, that's not true. I think we do need a lot more diversification of viewpoint that's not based on anything but viewpoint. But it's like, for now, for this year, maybe next year, it's like it's going to be it no one really knows what they're doing. That's the hard and fast rule of show business.
Yeah.
No one knows shit. Everyone's still kind of learning. There's going to be a little bit of growing pains if they're trying to make diversity happen a lot more.
I have no problem with diversity. Like I watched a Korean comic who doesn't speak English. I watched his special the other day.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah, with the subtitles.
Yeah, why wouldn't I? Yeah, like,
sure.
Part of me goes, and then halfway through, I'm like, who the fuck is Young Me Fat? Like,
yeah.
And then I was like, oh, he's an old dictator. Oh, okay, this makes a lot more sense.
Nice.
But then I started
That's
going
funny.
but I like. It's the same thing we go back to with Lindy West. I like hearing other viewpoints. I like other points of view. I watched Aisling B. I watched her.
Oh yeah, she's great.
Yeah, I watched her.
She's a nice person too.
Yeah, she's a really great person. People on my podcast hate her guts, but she was a really. She had she had a huge backlash.
She's riding that shit. She's in the fucking new like Paul Rudd movie or something.
She's me and her texted back and forth after we did my podcast because it was fine. But she got a lot of shit from. People obviously don't hate her. But she got a lot of shit from my fucking listeners. Personally, but like only share between me and her. Like,
what'd she say? She hates American football or something?
No,
I'm joking.
She said she didn't like the Comedy Store, which is like almost worse.
Sure, but I mean, fuck, man. Sometimes I don't. I mean, I love that place, but that's my gym.
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine who is like a bigwig at CAA. I'm not at CAA, but he helps with careers and he's a good dude. But he was like about to leave, and he's like, "Oh, are you going up?" He's like. I'm gonna go. I'm sorry. I'm like, oh, like I want you to watch me lift weights. That's what I'm doing in there. I'm working out.
I'm working out.
I
would love if they had one night where they banned all industry.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Totally, because
that's the one night you'd murder and you'd want them there.
Of course, because you're so relaxed. But look, man, when Mickey Cohen owned that place called Ciro's, he would murder people in the basement. He would take people into the basement and murder them. Yeah. That's why it's one of the most haunted buildings in Hollywood, which is saying something. You know how many murders and suicides we've had? Like, that building is cursed.
Which is
not for nothing.
Something.
All the walls are painted black. It's like a dark pit of hell sometimes.
She didn't say she hated the store. She just said there needed to be more diversity, and literally no one had her back. Like all the women that worked at the store hated her.
That's so true.
And it was and I felt bad because I also didn't.
Adam's doing such a good job.
Adam's doing a great job.
Yeah.
And I felt bad because I didn't defend Adam.
Right.
I didn't defend any of the women that work there.
Yeah.
I was doing this thing that I had heard worked in today's society where I listened to people as a fucking white male.
It works.
I listened.
Sure.
And I heard her point.
Yes.
And I didn't argue back. And a lot of people got mad at me, and a lot of people got mad at her.
Fine.
And I was like, but I watched her special. So I watch everything that comes out.
And the problem with the Comedy Store is they put up maybe 25 comics a night, and every comic in the entire world wants to play that club. The entire world. Like, it is legendary.
And the biggest problem is that the greatest comics in the world all enjoy working there as well.
And they'll just drop in.
Yep.
They'll just drop in. And it's like
the first night I performed there, I got bumped by, and by the way, I'm not shitting on this, but I got bumped by Judd Apatow, Daniel Tosh, and one other big name. And by the way, I mean, just to put this in perspective, I have a healthy ego, but I'm also very aware of where I am in the business.
Yes.
And when it's your first night performing as a paid regular, and you've been in the business 19, 18, maybe I guess 17 years at the time, you've had 2 specials, you've been on TV for 7 years, you've done a number, like you feel like you have a career, and you just watch people who you cannot deny take your spot from you, not in a dick way, but just in a, hey man, I got to get home kind of way.
Yes.
And you know that universally there's nothing you can say about this.
Yeah.
Trust me, it fucks with your ego.
Look, I always get like 11 o'clock spots.
Yeah.
I think I've ever gotten it before 11 in terms of the OR.
By the way,
it's
Monday.
Room.
It's Monday. We should definitely call it for our reveals.
Yeah, right. We should. I haven't called in yet, but like, I don't give a shit that Ali Wong is at 9. It's like,
no,
she's a fucking superstar. And I mean, to say nothing of how funny she is, but her draw is bananas. It's insane.
Yeah.
Like the amount of people she could just like post on Twitter, hey, I bet she could be like, I'm playing the Greek tonight. They said I could have it. She'd at least half fill that shit. Just word of mouth. Probably fill it. Yeah, she'd probably sell it out.
Within 24 hours, she'd sell it out.
Yeah.
Within 24 hours, she'd sell out.
And it's like, I'm not gonna,
By the way, all those guys who say women are funny, go see Ali Wong.
Fuck yeah, dude, that's perfect.
Go see Ali Wong. I mean, she really is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, she is. And I remember seeing her in San Francisco and being like, who is this demon? I was like, oh man. I was like, wait until they figure out a way. It's always that, a way to sell this person. I don't know who's going to do it, but if someone could crack the code, and there's still people that I'm like, yeah, it's like, I'm still trying to figure out how to sell me. You know what I mean?
I think we're all...
Everyone's trying to figure that out. But it's like, so when someone gets it so perfect where it's like, oh my God, Tiny Ali Wong did a special for Netflix, pregnant as fuck, that's gonna go like sliced bread. That's gonna be bigger than pretzels. Dude. Like that shit will be it, and I love it. I love when someone just cracks it. Yeah. Whether it's them or their friend's idea or their reps or something.
And then you go,
like you doing your special with no shirt on. Perfect.
Yeah, well,
no, it's perfect.
It's so funny. That's a what is it? That's a 4-year perfect in the making.
Sure.
Showtime hated the concept. Everyone hated the fucking premise. Like everyone's like, and I was like, I'm sorry, this is just how I do it.
Dude, I mean, I will say this for like Netflix's kind of like, let's try weird ideas. They put your belly on the poster, and everyone said that was the dumbest idea. Yeah. That's a perfect poster.
Yeah. Ali
Wong, can you imagine, like at least, like even as short as like 3 years ago, I could see every executive being like, how pregnant is she? Some men are very turned off by that.
Can I tell you?
Some men.
I was in a meeting. I was in a meeting.
I'm sure that idea got shot down.
Right when I got my offer for the special, I was in a meeting, and they were like, I don't know if I'm rep by the same people Ali Wong is, but anyway, they were like, so I think the number one question is, you're doing it shirtless, right? And I was like, well, yeah. And they're like, oh, thank God. And I go, really? And they're like, can I tell you a secret? And I was like, oh yeah. And they're like, Ali Wong's pregnant again. And I was like, wait, she's shooting her special in like 2 months. And they're like, I know. And man, let me tell you something. Google Trends that shit. Ali Wong's last special is bigger than anyone's special that came out.
I love
that.
It.
Is the nut when she went, her last special is fucking massive.
Yeah.
That is I look at her in a way like almost like you do a superhero, because I go,
yeah,
you know what she does? I don't know if I'm accurately portraying this, and I don't want to say anything negative. Like, I don't hope no one perceives anything bad, but she goes, I'm on tour for like 3 months, and then I'll see you guys next year. And then she spends time with her kids, and raises her kids, and does spots at night.
Yeah.
And I go, fuck.
Yeah.
I'll see. I mean, I remember her going like, it was like probably like April, I guess, and she was like, this is a great tour. I'll see you guys next year in 2019. And I was like, huh? I was like, wait, how do I fucking, oh God, get me to that fucking place in life. Oh, shit.
And this is someone who, like, I remember back in San Francisco, she had a bit where, like, you ever see someone do a bit that you're like, oh my God, that's I could never say, that's darker than, holy shit. She had a bit where she's like, or she had a boyfriend once who wasn't sexually adventurous enough. I'm going to butcher the joke. But she's like, I wanted to try anal sex, and he didn't want to do it. And I said, if I fucking put on Craigslist that an Asian 20-something wants to have anal sex, I would break the internet. It would die. The internet would crash. And she screamed that. And I was like, oh, who is this? Yeah. You know? I mean, just, she's always had the biggest balls. You know, she's always been so gutsy. I love it.
I love what she wears on stage. By the way, now I'm dissecting this, which is super unhealthy. But the other day is like, she wore shorts, a t-shirt, and like little boat shoes on stage.
Yep.
And I was like, you know what? Fuck yeah. Mm-hmm. Fuck yeah. Like, fuck yeah. I've always been a fan of like Sarah would wear sweatpants and a sweatshirt on stage.
Yeah.
And like
I always
Whitney
felt
would wear
bad
like
for women that wore like really sexy tight stuff. I was like, how do you?
I get it for your special.
Yeah, don't
like
listen.
if you're just working shit out.
But even now, I'll see like Amy Schumer like do like a special in like a giant theater in heels.
Yeah.
Which I remember. Chris Rock nailed it. He was talking about hosting the Oscars and talking to Steve Martin. He's like, you know, a lot of it is just your shoes. Your shoes have to feel good on that stage.
Dude.
If you're about to play a giant theater, you know, it's like you walk out there in your show shoes and you run around and you're like, all right, yeah. I know what this feels like. I'm ready for what this feels like when this shit is packed with maniacs, you know? With heels, I wouldn't wear heels just, it's like, not that I have experience, but it's just, I can't imagine.
Dude, I'm very particular about what shoes I wear on stage, and right now I'm wearing dad as fuck shoes. They're so bad, but they're really comfy.
Bert Kreischer signature Skechers?
Yeah, they're the ones that roll back and forth.
Deal with Skechers.
No, they're Merrells.
Nice.
Slide on Merrells.
Oh yeah, that's
no,
nice.
no. They're these Nike Pegasus ATT.
Oh, Pegasus. Those are good.
They're the coolest shoes.
Those are good.
But then one day I was on stage and someone goes, and I love them. I love them because I ran them by Dalia, and Dalia's like, "Oh, dude, those shoes are fire."
Yeah,
or whatever
fire.
he says.
Yeah, he's a good one to check with. Funches is a good one to
Those
check
are
with.
lit as fuck, bro.
Yeah, bro.
And so
Tight
I was
shoes,
like,
bro.
cool. And then one day this mom goes, "You know what I love about you? Your shoes." And I went, "Oh, thank you." She goes, "They're like dad shoes." And I went, "No, they're not."
No,
I was like, "No, you're looking at a dad wearing them, and all of a sudden they don't look cool." I'm like, "I'm taking cool clothes and making them look bad."
Yeah.
So I was like,
Me too.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
So wait, we should probably how long have we been doing like
Over 2.5.
over
Whoa,
2.5
okay.
hours? We should probably wrap this up.
Okay.
Where are you on? Where are you on the road coming up?
I'm going to be in Toronto for my Please Hold Me tour starts.
Wait. I got to ask you about Bridgetown before we leave.
Okay, great.
Because I've been fascinated by that.
Sure.
And not just because I've always wanted an invite. I've just been fascinated.
I'm sorry.
No.
But it's funny, we talk about the straight white male thing. We have an allotted number that we have to that we usually don't try to go above.
real.
And I've fought. Everyone loves you. I've fought for you. I think we reached out to your reps once, but the price was too high. I should have just called you or something.
Should've just called me.
But it's like, I've had people like Birbiglia and Swartzen who like wanted to do it, but it's like they can't burn Portland. And I'm like, I get it, man. You can't burn Portland for the year when they, Schwartzen's playing the fucking Schnitzer. You know, where my prom was in the lobby.
So how did you start that?
I used to. There's a comedy club there that I would play on and off, but I just wanted to go back to Portland more, and so I would basically book. My friend booked bands, and the bands would start at 10, and so I was like, "Can I have the 8 to 10 slot?" And she was like, "Yes." And so I would make a deal with her, and then Andy Wood started coming to the show, and he would say, "Can I open for you?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then him and a guy named Kimberly Brady basically were like, "Should we start a comedy festival?" I was like, "Yeah." And for the first 4 or 5 years, my whole job was asking my famous friends to do it, to give it more legitimacy, and to see if they'd do it for cheap, friend rates, which I'm not in love with. I kind of hate. But from then on, I would look at tapes. I would invite people that would open for me to submit. And it started from, put it this way, our first year, our big celebrity tentpole act was Tig Notaro. And this is how knee-jerk progressive Portland, well, I'd say the Willamette Week was, which we've had, on again, off again relationships with. Like, I mean, they're fine, but they're kind of like a weekly newspaper along with the Portland Mercury. Portland Mercury was always very supportive. Weekly, we had to like, in Oregonian, we had to like legitimize ourselves. But anyway, they were like, "Can we get an interview for Tig?" And the interviewer was like, "Great, she's an up and coming lesbian comedian." And Tig was like, "I don't want to talk about being a lesbian." And they're like, "Well, then no interview." It's like, fuck you. And so like, I always bring that up in terms of how hard it was for us to get any press.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, but now, 6 years in, I mean, now it's 10 years. We're on a hiatus now, and it should come back, but I don't know. It's everyone else who produces.
Did you take a year off?
Well, yeah, but it was more because, look, I made a choice to never make any money from the festival because it would kind of delegitimize me because I play it every year. It's like, I don't want to do that. That's gross. But everyone else who does make a portion of their living from it, we're not making a great living. And so if we got like a massive sponsor, like when we did that Las Vegas festival, they had Zappos.
Yeah.
If we had something like that, a major company that could pay all the bills and also pay those people for their time watching thousands of hours of tape, watching people send in, because we got so many submissions.
So how did it work? You had headliners.
Yeah. We had headliners.
How many days did the festival last?
It was like the whole thing is about 3 or 4 days. It was like Friday through Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you had headliners for each night.
Yep.
And then you had open mic nights, or not open mic, but like New Faces type shows.
Yeah, New Faces. We had one show that anyone could sign up, that was constant rotation, that never stopped. That was in a bar. And so you'd go in there, you never knew you were going to see or who was going to drop in. But for the most part, the whole formula was get like famous people to get asses in seats. And once they were there, show them people that were worthy of their time. So we were very hard on up and comers in terms of like judging who was at the who was at the level.
Yeah.
You know, to really, because, you know, for first couple of years it was real trial and error. You'd go to a show and be like, oof, everyone here is real green. They'd never been in front of an audience as much. Well, not never, but like it took some doing to kind of know how to mix up the thing where it was just, and I kind of learned to stop trying to get myself into like the better, what would be a more fun show with more of my friends, and be like, no, just throw me all over the place. And we also learned to concentrate where the shows are. And that's where I feel like a lot of festivals like High Plains learned from our mistakes. Like you go to High Plains Festival, you can walk to all the gigs. You have one badge.
What's High Plains?
You can go High Plains Comedy Festival in Denver.
Okay.
That started by like the Growlix guys, the guys who did that show, Those Who Can't.
I don't know.
You don't know those guys? Oh, they're the best.
I only know
Adam
one guy.
Clayton Holland and Andrew Orvidal.
And I think I know one of the guys. Maybe there's one guy I just love out of Denver who's a big gay guy who drinks beer, but he doesn't look like a gay guy.
Okay.
But I think he's just fucking. I wanted to say it's John Roy. It's not John Roy.
Not John Roy.
It's not John Roy. No. But that's his name. Sounds like that. Ben Roy.
Well, Ben Roy is in Growlix, but he's skinny and he's sober and he's in punk
that's
bands.
Not him. I know Ben Roy then maybe. Mm-hmm. I know Ben Roy, but there's also a big gay guy that I loved. Mm. I watched him do stand up. I just thought he was hilarious. Okay. But anyway, okay. So keep going.
So we put all the things close together and try to keep the badge price pretty low, you know, and so people would it became like a yearly thing. Everyone in Portland looks forward to. You know.
So when do you think you'll redo it?
It's really up to everybody else. I'll do it next month. I don't care.
Meaning all the other people that put it together?
Yes. It's really we really want to get a sponsor in place that will make it worth all their times. You know, all the people that are really doing the nuts and bolts, like Andy. It's kind of Andy's baby. You know, Andy and I are partners on it, but Andy's done far more work on it than I ever did. Really? I've watched a bunch of submissions, but like, Jesus, the amount of, you know, people, you know, that put in all their time. But it was, you know, it's still a thing I'm really, really proud of for doing.
It's one of the, I would say it was. I mean, I'm sure I'm wrong about this, but in my recollection in stand-up, it was the first festival that was like grassroots festival.
Yeah, we pretty much were. That were just kind of from the ground up, and everything came after that.
And the thing you
Moon Tower, High Plains, Riot in L.A. I mean, they all were kind of after us. Yeah,
Skanks Fest is a really fun.
I looked at that. That looked great.
I did it last year. I would like to put together either a cruise or a festival in Florida. Yeah. Like a Clearwater festival where
That's awesome.
Where I just rented like 4 houses on the beach for my friends.
Nice.
And then doubled us up, you know, and we all stayed together and then put on a festival in Clearwater Beach, like by the Scientology Center.
Oh my God.
And so like there's a little theater right across the street. And then just each of us do it for a weekend. Each of us take a night where we're headlining, but everyone's doing more. And then, but it's one of those things that it's like you got to really be passionate about.
Yeah. Well, one thing, like I don't know if you know the Max Fun guys, but they're like a podcast network. He did a thing where
he did a cruise.
But it was in theater on the boat. So we all got like rooms and all that jazz, and all the fans could come and hang out in this one area, but you'd also go to the rest of the boat, so you don't have to deal with the whole boat is rented.
Oh, I want to deal with the whole boat.
You do?
I want to deal with the whole boat.
Okay, I'm just saying that's an option.
I want the whole fucking boat.
I want you to have the whole boat too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to lowboat you here.
Yeah. I would want to do. I need to be much bigger. I need to be Sebastian's size.
Yeah.
That's ultimately it.
I mean, you're getting there, man.
Oh, no. Let me tell you something. If I announced the Greek, I could announce it a year out, and I'd still sell just the first 200 seats.
Already was just getting, you know, a little bit here, a little bit there from his 2 specials before that wave really kicked in, you know? And I mean, Sebastian's whole thing is that he is incredibly Italian-American. And so he's already got this massively built-in demographic of people who want to see their culture reflected and so defined. Like his thing is so defined in that regard, you know, and from a modern man's perspective, which is great.
That's awesome, man. So wait, where are you coming up? What's?
I have my tour, the Please Hold Me tour, starts in let's see, September 23rd in Toronto, the JFL 42.
That's really fun.
Yeah, I haven't done the Toronto one. I've done
Oh,
the
it's
Montreal
great. It's great.
7 times. but
fucking great.
I'm psyched.
It's so much more fun. There's no pressure. There's no one there.
Nice.
Meaning like there's no like it's not industry heavy. It's just fun as fuck. They've got a nice little. When I did it, they had a nice little room. Everyone partied in afterwards.
Oh, it's great.
It's really great.
Nice. No, I'm psyched for that. And then I just have you go to mattbraunger.com. All my dates are up there. And the podcast, which you're coming on.
Yep.
Advice from a Dipshit with Matt Braunger, independently produced, and we're getting a bunch of let's see. Kyle Kinane's going to be coming up. We just had Open Mike Eagle on there. Jen Kirkman.
Dude, I just went to an Open Mike Eagle Spiral.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, just fucking like.
Love that guy.
He said something. He said something online, and I was like, "Wait, I keep hearing his name."
Yeah.
And I clicked in, and I was like, "Oh wait, I didn't realize what the fuck this was."
Yeah.
Like I'd always just thought. I literally thought he was some open micer.
No. He's a rapper.
Yeah. He's a
that
rapper.
just
He's
gave
fucking
himself that name.
Friends with Hannibal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, him and Baron Vaughn sold the New Negroes on Comedy Central. It's a show with like up and coming black comics.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. That's fucking great.
Yeah. So
He's
and
a
he's
Chicago
he's
guy too, right?
Yeah.
God damn you guys.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna make sure everyone does the challenge. Rate the top 5 scenes or whatever it was
Yes,
called. I fucking
absolutely.
forgot already.
Oh, can I read the phone number for calling in for if they
fuck
want it?
yeah.
Because I think some of your callers might like to,
And write this down so we can do it at the beginning too.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Because like I got so many great calls from Tom and Christina, and like they can. I'm sure some will call in and ask. They'll want advice from you. But I don't know if they'll make we only do like 4 calls an episode.
And you edit them,
we'll
right? You meaning like you screen them.
Oh, she screened. There's so many I don't hear.
Okay, good.
So many. And my producer has 2 clients.
Hey Bert, why you a fat fuck?
She has me and this lady who's just this like a monster of industry of bit she's gonna be having Kevin Hart on her podcast and like Kevin James, these massive people.
Yeah.
And that's all she has. So she's a genius of podcasting. So she's like, she knows, she gets ideas all the time. So she's definitely screens like, don't like, this is never making it. But when she watched your special, she loves it, by the way.
Oh, nice.
And was like, oh, I got some calls. I got some calls for Bert.
Oh, good.
So we'll get ones about family, about partying, about,
Why I'm so fat. So what's the number?
Okay. So it's 323-763-0228.
Oh, that's my number. Just kidding.
But thanks for having me on, man. This is
a blast, man. This is a fucking, what is it, 2.5 seamless hour podcast.
We got into some shit. I did not expect it.
Dude, it's perfect. I feel like we talked about comedy. We talked about how people should listen. Mm-hmm. I think is mostly what our message should have been.
Yeah.
We got the comedy scenes, the Bridgetown. I don't think there's anything. Literally, I'm so glad I brought up Bridgetown because I've been fascinated by that.
Well, and you know what? The thing that I thought of that I forgot to say, that there was a book I had. It was called Taxi Driver Wisdom, and there was a line, and I think this is true of comedians, because we only work like an hour a night, and all we do is watch people.
Yeah.
Taxi driver said, the whole thing is quotes from actually taxi drivers, and he goes, I see everything that's going on because I'm never looking for a parking space. So it's like with comedians, we see everything going on because we don't have to, answer to anyone. We don't have to go to these jobs. So it's like, we are dipshits. We are fucking machines, scumbags, maniacs. But like, we see more than you know, and we have an understanding of the human condition.
That's
so it's like
fucking brilliant.
I feel like us talking and chopping it up is good. This is awesome.
Dude, thank you so much.
Thank you, man.